And away we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Hello, South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. It's great to be with you again. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. What's happening, y'all? Gonna be with you. Happy Friday. Gotta get down on Friday. I am Rob. He is the great one, Lonzo. We are the cast and crew of the South Carolina Broadcasters Association Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year, the Rob Brown Show, right here on ESPN Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, all around the world on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Put it on all your digital devices and don't miss a minute of our outstanding program every day right here on the Big Stick. What up, Zoe?
If I may steal a phrase from the great MJF. We're better than you, and you know
it. Crystal trophies, they only make a couple of those a year, and we got one, Jack. Busy day, busy day on the radio broadcast today. We are going to get into some NFL discussion later on in the radio broadcast. USC taking on UNC in a Border War Bowl game, and I got to thinking about yesterday, one of the things that we've talked about bowl games, right? And I've told you guys that, at least in my opinion, bowl games have largely become irrelevant, right? We've kind of gotten to the point where it seems like yesterday we had Jim Phillips, the commissioner of the Atlantic Coast Conference, who showed up yesterday. They were talking to him about what it would take to go through conference expansion. And one of the things he said was, well, there's questions that have to be answered, including what happens to the bowl system. And I said, that's a really, 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 really dumb thing to be concerned about, right? Like, why is that a primary concern? The bowl games are irrelevant. And I think that got lost in translation a little bit. I am not saying that bowl games are irrelevant. I'm not saying that bowl games are bad. And I'm not saying they're unimportant. They're very important. And we are going to prove that coming up later, because South Carolina has a lot of opportunity because of the bowl game that they were able to save by knocking off Auburn to get that 6th win. We're going to break that down. And we'll do the same thing for Clemson. Clemson's going to head down to Orlando to take on Iowa State. And that is going to be interesting. What these teams, you effectively get 15 extra practices. You get 15 extra practices in order to get your team ready to go for the bowl game. But most coaches will tell you that those 15 extra practices, they're for the bowl game, but they're really just 15 more extra practices to get your team ready for next year, which means that these 15 practices have to be taken advantage of. And there are some things that can be worked on. And I think that's true for both Gamecocks and the Tigers. And we're going to talk about that coming up later on in the show. Coming up at 1:15 this afternoon, we are going to be joined by the recently announced new head coach of the Greenville USL W League head coach. We are going to be joined by Miss Julie Carson. Julie was named yesterday as the head coach of the Greenville USL W League team, which begins play in May upcoming. Carlson has served as the director of operations for women's soccer at Clemson University for the past 4 years. She has been the head coach at a couple of other universities in the past and is very involved with the girls soccer leagues of the area. Very, very excited to be joined by Julie Carson coming up about 1:20 or so this afternoon. Immediately after that, about 1:35, we're going to be joined by Mark Shelley of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. He is the play-by-play voice of the Swamp Rabbits, and he is going to join us about 1:35. The Swamp Rabbits, of course, coming off a win over the Orlando Solar Bears this past Wednesday evening. They had to travel to yesterday, so we had to push our normal Thursday segment to today. So Julie Carson, head coach of the Greenville USL W League team, going to join us at 1:20, and then at 1:35, Mark Shelley, play-by-play voice of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, is going to join us on the show. And we got a ton of other things we need to get to over the course of the day. Phone lines open 844-GSP-ESPN 844-477-3776. Ingles Market text line is 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air. Let's get Michael in here. Callers always go first. We'll get to our lunch breakdown here in just a minute, but let's get Mike in here. What's up, Michael?
Hello, Robert. How are you doing this morning?
I'm just living the dream, buddy. How are you?
I am fantastic. What are you doing today?
A radio show, you weirdo.
Do you know what I'm doing today, Robert? Because you know who this is. Right?
Yeah. This is one of my old fraternity brothers who loves to play this fun game where he calls in and tells me what incredible golf course he's playing around the golf at while I'm working.
I want to point, his phone number is Tampa.
Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I see Tampa or Boca or Miami pop up, I know that this segment's about to get ruined.
Yeah, sorry, brother. I'm at Pinehurst this weekend. I'm playing 8 today, 2 tomorrow, and 4 on Sunday.
You would. You would.
I would.
I hope you roll your ankle hopping out of the cart at 1.
I would still be smiling, and that's the best part.
You're such a jerk. Why did I ever give my friends the phone number to the show?
It's public information, Robert. You can't deny us that.
I mean,
I really wanted to talk with you, though, about Florida. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, after you.
You have a job to do. I wanted to talk about Florida State's athletic director and how they just kind of quick did a rehire. What you thought about Coburn leaving, who the new hire is, if they're going to be any good or not. I got to do something while I warm up, so I figured listening to your heavenly voice would be a good start.
You're the worst person. You're the worst person.
Hey, that might have just made a promo, though.
The worst person. It's interesting because FSU signs a new AD, and FSU's new AD. It's going to be interesting. Clemson's going through the same thing, right? Because Dan Radakovich, who was the AD at Clemson, has left to go down to the University of Miami. So you got 3 ACC schools at the minimum coming in with new ADs. Michael Alford is the new AD at Florida State. He was actually the CEO of the Booster Club. And that's why I think it's an interesting hire. They were going for Tyra, who is the Louisville AD, and then those negotiations kind of fell apart, and they go with the current CEO of the Seminole Boosters, which is good because at the end of the day, probably the biggest responsibility of the athletic director is to make sure that the athletic department is working with the boosters. A lot of money that gets paid out by the program specifically to the head coach, Mike Norvell, in the case of FSU, obviously Dabo Swinney at Clemson, that has to be organized through private donations into the university that the booster club will get, but the AD has to be in charge of all of that. So to have a guy who is very familiar with that process because he has been on both ends of it now, looks good. It's one of the reasons that Miami poached Dan Radakovich away from Clemson, is because a guy who's been able to handle contracts like Clemson has with 2 of the highest paid coordinators in the country. When you got a guy who can manage those monies, make sure that the boosters are happy with the direction it's going, that's a good thing for any athletic department, and I think Florida State made a good hire here.
So 3 things. 1, do you do think it's a good hire? How long do you think it'll take for that team to turn around to be a decent team again? 2, I was sitting balls the entire time and not really paying attention. 3, they hit Pro V1s that are the practice balls here.
Hang up on this guy. Just hang up on this guy. I'm done. I'm done
I
with you.
I'm
done with you. Bye, Mike.
Bye, Robert. I love you.
All right. No more fraternity brothers on the show. All right.
But I can't guarantee that, because, someone legitimately could be calling from those places that you have flagged as possible fraternity brother calls. And,
my guy calls me from Pinehurst, one of the most beautiful golf courses in the country, just to make sure I know he's playing Pinehurst while I'm at work, and then ask me a legitimate question.
It was a good question.
A legitimately good question.
And a good answer.
A legitimately good question, to which I give him a good answer, and then he goes, yeah, I wasn't listening. I was hitting range balls at Pinehurst, just so you know. I need new friends. I
think you need to hang with your friends. It sounds like they're always having a good time.
He's at Pinehurst. I can't afford to hang with my friends. All right? Can't afford it.
That's hard to believe. You work in radio.
Yeah.
Come on. Everyone knows. It's cash, baby.
You think this haircut's cheap? Come on now. Shut up, Alonzo.
I got nothing.
Keegan asks, are the Triumph going to be announcing the new team live, new team name for the USL W League team? It is not finalized yet. So no, we're just going to be speaking to the coach today. We do not have a team name yet. You can go to their website. I believe the voting is still, let me check. I believe you can still go vote for the Greenville Triumph W League team name. I believe the voting is still live. But they are looking for a name. They have narrowed it down to 5 finalists. Let's get your opinion. In fact, you know what? Text which one of these 5 names you think should go on the team. Here are the team names that are the finalists, Lonzo. The 5 finalists are the Greenville Ascent, the Greenville Glory, the Greenville Liberty, the Greenville Spark, and the Greenville Wrens, W-R-E-N-S, like the Carolina Wren, the state bird of South Carolina. Which one of those names strikes you, Zoe?
Well, Greenville Glory kind of stands out just because of alliteration and all that stuff. But I'm going with the Wrens.
The Wrens, okay.
I kind of like that.
I don't hate it. I got to go Glory because Glory and Triumph. That sounds cool, man. That's a good battle cry. I agree with you. I initially was on the Liberty, right? You give them like a red, white, and blue scheme. You got the Liberty Bridge in downtown Greenville, so it kind of ties the whole thing together. And then somebody hit me with, dude, how dope of a banner that says Glory and Triumph on it. Triumph and Glory on it. That's kind of a killer catchphrase. I've kind of been won over to the Greenville Glory.
I'm guessing that's the one that's going to win.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I mean, because it definitely stands out amongst the other names. Yeah.
I initially said, and I think if I recall correctly, the majority of the votes when we talked about this from the beginning, the majority of the votes came in to name them the Greenville Triumph Women's League, right? We just wanted it to be the Triumph, play under one banner. And then effectively what they said, and I respect it. Effectively, what they said was that they wanted to let this team have its own identity, right? They didn't want it to fall under the banner where there was any chance that people would look and go, oh, they're just trying to steal momentum from the men's side who has been so good. They wanted to give them their own identity, which I absolutely respect. Absolutely like the thought. Triumph and Glory, Glory and Triumph, I think is a dope slogan. I kind of like it. So I think I'm going with Glory. If you want to vote, you can go to greenvilletriumph.com. There's a link there on the main page where you can go vote. The voting runs through next Friday. You guys hit me with what names you like. The 5 finalists are the Greenville Ascent, the Greenville Glory, the Greenville Liberty, the Greenville Spark, and the Greenville Wrens, W-R-E-N-S. And let me know which one you like. We'll put in a vote. We'll put in a vote for the Rob Brown Show Nation. We'll put in a vote for the Rob Brown Show Nation as far as what you guys want. But you can also put in your own vote by going to greenvilletriumph.com. I'm going Glory. Triumph and Glory, Glory and Triumph. I like it. I think it's a dope name. Let's do this, Lonzo. Let's run to our break on time. I'll be. And do the lunch breakdown when we come back here in just a minute because we got a lot of stuff. Keegan says Triumph and Glory is all the merch. Yup. All right. Let's take a break. Back after this. We are going to go with the lunch breakdown next. Thanks to Michael, who wrecked my show like a friend. The Rob Brown Show's on the radio. It's ESPN Upstate. Harley-Davidson of Greenville has their model year-end event going on right now. I mean, you ever watch those commercials, like the car commercials, where they wake up on Christmas Day and the hubby and the wifey walk outside, and they're like, oh, I got your new car, and it's got a big bow on it. And you know how you always look and you go, it's so cliche, right? You know who will feel that way? You. When you wake up on Christmas Day and decide to go take a ride on your brand new Harley Davidson. They are just a few weeks away from getting the 2022 models rolling in, which means the 2021 model year end event going on now is the best time to get yourself up on the back of one of America's most recognized, trusted, beloved brands, Harley-Davidson. They've got to get the 2021s out to make room for the 2022s, which means you're getting an incredible deal. And maybe you're not looking for something new, right? Maybe you're looking to upgrade your ride. Maybe you're looking to add another ride to the collection. They've also got the largest pre-owned inventory in the entire upstate area. It is an incredible showroom of both new and pre-owned rides. The bike of your dreams is in that shop. And if it's not, they're going to help you find it. They are going to get you the Christmas gift to you that is going to make you as happy as I was the day I bought my motorcycle as a Christmas present to myself. Trust me, I've done it. Go to 30 Chrome Drive and see the beautiful showroom, 30 Chrome Drive, or check them out online at upstateharley.com. Upstateharley.com. It's Harley-Davidson of Greenville.
So when you watch one episode of a show and you see it's already been canceled for the second season, do you bother watching the rest?
If the first episode was really good, sure.
I mean, it was.
What show was it?
Cowboy Bebop. Which I never watched the anime. So live action. It's on Netflix, and they've already canceled it. So, and it's only been out like a week or so.
Really?
Yeah.
So she's getting no response.
Yeah. Probably the same as me. Is like, okay. Also, when you get the chance, I meant to mention this to you earlier and I forgot. The trailer for the new Star Wars game.
Okay. I've not seen it yet.
Yes.
Shoulder and back pain relief. Don't let them keep giving you steroids, and don't let them tell you surgery is your only option. Get a free second opinion at QC Kinetics. Do it now and imagine life in 2022 without.
My buddy's doing the elf on a shelf thing for his kids, and this is the effort he made for them yesterday. That's a solid effort.
That is nice.
Yeah, let me do it this way.
I don't know the glare. I was gonna say I'm not sure the glare will make it. We'll give it a second to adjust. There we go. We got it. We did, and you moved your hand.
There we go. You got to block out the rest of the way. Anyway, dude gave him being brought in by Mando. That's a fantastic elf on a shelf effort.
Feel bad for the deer, but you know.
I did not watch Hawkeye, Steven, and I did not watch Hawkeye, although I had absolutely planned on it, because I got the text from the lady friend at like 7:30 last night that said, be ready for a surprise date in an hour. And I'm assuming, Steven, that you understand that if the lady friend says, I have a surprise date for you lined up that starts at 9 p.m., you go on the date. You feel me?
By the way, Steven and Keegan, hopefully you guys have watched the trailer for next week's episode because, dude.
You're going to make me watch Hawkeye while I'm trying to do the show then. The oldest hometown theater in my old hometown just closed down. It's been open for like 60-something years, and it just shut down.
That sucks.
It's one of those things that it's like, it really sucks because not only did I go to that theater as a teenager, but like everybody in my hometown for 40 years went to that theater as a teenager. But on the flip side, it's like that's going to be the new norm, right? Theaters are going to start closing. Older theaters are about to start closing.
Well, we'll see what Spider-Man does. Spider-Man will go a long way towards finding if theaters have any staying power. Although it's been on the uptick for the last couple months. We'll see.
Black Betty by Ram Jam.
No. This is Shoot 'Em Up by David Alfonso.
Yeah.
One of our guys.
Whoa, Black Betty, Ram-a-lam, whoa, Black Betty. It's Black Betty by Ram Jam. The damn thing gone wild. Ram-a-lam, say the wouldn't. I don't even remember the rest of the words, but that's what it is.
I don't hear it.
The Rob Branch Show back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. Rob Alonzo and you. 844-GSP, ESPN, 844-477-3776. A little bit of breaking news out of the area here, Lonzo. We have learned that Dutch Fork wide receiver Antonio Williams, I'll accept it. Dutch Fork wide receiver, by the way, breaking news brought to you by our friends at BetQL. BetQL.com. Get better. Be a better. Be a smarter, better. Beat the books by going to BetQL.com. Dutch Fork star receiver Antonio Williams, a 4-star, had long been expected to be a South Carolina Gamecock commit. He had offers from South Carolina. He had an offer from Ole Miss as well, and those were expected to be his top 2 picks. But Clemson has stolen him, ladies and gentlemen.
Look at you, Clemson. See, you're going to be all right. You're going to be okay.
The Tigers have stolen him at the last minute. They offered a scholarship to Antonio Williams, and he flipped on the Gamecocks. Williams had a big performance in Saturday's Class 5A state championship loss to Gaffney. He was injured late in the game and dropped out of tomorrow's North-South All-Star game in Myrtle Beach. He was having, or was at least expected to be having, in-state visits with Clemson and USC this weekend. It was shortly after the announcement that Clemson commit and top-ranked quarterback in the 24/7 Sports Composite, Cade Klubnik, tweeted after the announcement, quote, "Let's go, bro!" That's all caps. That's how you got to do it when it's all caps. Been waiting on this. Let's get to work. Williams ranked as the number 133 overall recruit, 21st best at his position nationally, and the number 4 prospect in the state for the 2022 class in the 24/7 composite. Clemson also has a commitment from Myrtle Beach wide receiver Adam Randall, ranked number 119 overall, 17 at the position, and number 3 in the state. So now 2 of the top 4 wide receivers in the state of South Carolina, both wearing orange and purple next year. Solid.
So I'm curious about this. So the criticisms of DJ maybe unwarranted because these guys know who's going to be throwing the ball, and they're picking Clemson over South Carolina, which I understand. If you're a receiver coming out right now, and you're looking at both teams, you know who the quarterback is in Clemson. Who's the quarterback in South Carolina? You don't know. So you don't know who's going to be throwing you the ball. So I get going there over South Carolina.
Yes.
Even with all the departures and everything, this is still a team that's been winning every year, even though they weren't in a national championship picture this year. At least you know who the quarterback is.
Yeah, it's consistency can sometimes matter more. You likely know, and if not, it's Cade or DJ, right? Like we'll see if Cade can break out early, but
now can he?
Let's see here. We've got 24/7 Sports national analyst Cooper Patagna who said, quote, "I love this get for Clemson. Very natural skill set for the position. Plays with an excellent route tempo and feel as a route runner. Understands leverage. Has no issues creating consistent separation with very good short area quickness and suddenness. Good after the catch, too. And has the versatility to play inside out. About as solid as they come. One of my favorites of the cycle." Williams was offered by Clemson after attending the Tigers' November 20th victory after Wake Forest. Of course, Wake would go on to play in the ACC championship game. Prior to offering the in-state star, the Tigers had tendered only 4 wide receivers offers for 2022. Randall committed to, on Christmas, while Ohio State, Texas beat out Clemson for wide receivers before most recently North Carolina went out for the highly coveted Virginia receiver Andre Green Jr. Williams also held offers from Georgia, Michigan, Notre Dame, Auburn, USC, Tennessee, and Michigan State, and he picked Clemson over all of them. That's a big get.
But it's also a surprise too, because who's the offensive coordinator going to be? You don't know that either.
We don't know that, but I'm glad you said that, Zoe, because there's another story. There is another story that has broken out in the past handful of days. We have now found out Tony Elliott may not be leaving after all. All right. Apparently, it was reported yesterday by a couple of outlets that a major snag had hit in the negotiations between Elliott and the University of Virginia. Most everybody was working under the assumption that that contract was all but signed, and we were waiting on the pen to be handed to Tony Elliott to sign it. But then it was reported later in the day that there was a big-time snag in the negotiations of Tony Elliott to Virginia. And then shortly after that, Yahoo Sports began reporting that shortly after winning the Broyles Award given to the nation's top college football assistant coach, the University of Virginia reached out to Michigan offensive coordinator Josh Gaddis and is talking to him, interviewing him about potentially taking the reins at the University of Virginia. The Wolverines, of course, gearing up for the college football playoff semifinal, so there's going to be a delay in any potential negotiations there. I got to tell you, Michigan obviously wants to retain Gaddis and would likely, by the way, where'd Gaddis come from? Who do you work for? Nick Saban. That's exactly right. Another Nick Saban guy in the building. While Michigan will want to retain Gaddis, I don't know if Virginia's going to be able to offer him the money. He may be attracted by the prospect of being a head coach down the line. But that being said, the fact that we went from, we're just waiting on Elliott to get handed a pen to sign the contract, to Virginia is now looking in the direction of the Frank Broyles Award winner, may mean Elliott's name came off the table. Whatever the snag in the negotiations were, whatever the snag in the negotiations are, it must have been a big one. Must have been a big one. So now the question is, do Clemson fans want Tony Elliott back, right? Like Clemson fans 3 weeks ago were asking the question about whether Tony Elliott should return at all. As a matter of fact, I talked to a couple of Clemson fans over the past week or so that were all saying, I kind of hope he does go. I kind of hope he takes the job because it lets us get a new guy without having to fire a guy that has been such an integral part of what we've done here for the past half a decade.
See, I think it's, we were mad at you, but we didn't want you to go anywhere. We had to blame somebody for the offensive woes, and so it's you. It goes along with it, but we didn't want you to go anywhere, so we're glad you're staying here.
I don't know. Let's head. Number of Clemson fans over the past week since the news broke that there were going to be some things changing around Clemson with Venables out, with Radakovich out. There were whispers, and Clemson fans were telling me off the radio, Clemson fans were telling me, hey, look, at the end of the day, I kind of hope he goes. I kind of hope he goes. I kind of hope he moves on so that we don't have to fire a guy who has been such an integral part of the family, right? And now he might be back. First it popped up that he was interviewing with Duke. Then all of a sudden we saw Jason Garrett's name pop up. We've seen a couple of other names pop up in the Duke search. And you got to wonder if that's, did the interviews not go well? Did they just not decide not to pull the trigger on Tony Elliott? Then his name pops up at Virginia and popped up at Virginia as the number one contender for the head coaching position. And now all of a sudden, we get the report that there was a snag in the negotiations. Who knows what it was, right? That's not been reported. But there was a snag in the negotiations somewhere down the pipe. And then shortly after that, we get another name popping up as being on Virginia, not just being on Virginia's radar, but that's a big name, right? I mean, right now, if you looked at this year from both sides, you know, the consistency of performance from Tony Elliott makes him attractive, right? Yeah, this year didn't go to plan, but the consistency is what makes Elliott attractive. Over on the flip side, Josh Gaddis had a much better year's worth of offense, right? Much better year's worth of offense. His team's in a national semifinal game coming up in 3 weeks or whatever it is. And on top of that, he's a Saban guy. Saban guys can beat everybody except Saban.
So what you're saying is Saban guy greater than Dabo guy.
As of right now. But then again,
I'm not trying to create a guy greater than just about any.
Yeah. Yes, that's what I'm saying. But also, we have a wealth of data on Saban guys who go elsewhere and win. Dabo doesn't have Dabo guys because guys who coach for Dabo stick with Dabo for years, right?
Well, a few Dabo guys have won elsewhere and have not
coordinators.
Well, Rich Rodriguez. I mean, there's been some guys who've not done well and they've went other places.
Did Rich cut his teeth under Dabo?
If I believe so. I again, getting older and don't remember some things as well as I used to.
Rich Rod's one of those names that when you hear it, you're like, oh yeah, that was a thing. I remember that guy.
Yeah, he made me feel sorry for that team up north. I didn't even know that was possible.
But yeah, I mean, Gaddis is a Saban guy, and Michigan's in a semifinal. If Virginia can get him, I'd pull the trigger, right? I like going after young, energetic, new talent. I don't like retreading the same in the NFL too. I don't like retreading the same 8 coaches in every spot, right?
I would at least wait till the interview process and you know, narrow it down to a couple guys and see how they interview. Because one of these guys might wow you when they get there.
Well, again, remember, it sounded like, based on the reporting we got the last few days, sounded like Tony Elliott was way deep in the negotiations, right? Sounded like Tony Elliott was deep. You can't hit a snag in negotiations unless you're in the negotiations.
Yeah.
You know? You have to be negotiating in order to hit a snag in negotiations. And that sounded like the reports are that's what happened.
Unless your people are doing the negotiating, and then once you, I don't know.
True. 844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. Lunch breakdown next. I had to get that out there in case you missed the news just a moment ago. We have learned that Dutch Fork star wide receiver Antonio Williams, who was long thought to be a South Carolina Gamecock commit, has indeed flipped over and will be signing with the Clemson Tigers, coming off a big performance in Saturday's Class 5A state championship. He received an offer from Clemson after he attended the Wake Forest game a few weeks back. Apparently, they must have impressed the heck out of this kid because he is now a Clemson Tiger. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
Millions of incredible lights, a kids' light zone, 600-foot light tunnel, even a drive-through petting zoo. What? Really? Do we need tickets? Sure, but fast passes are available. Just sign up online. You went last year, and the kids have been asking when we can go back. What did you tell them? This is not the season. But now they know, and we're going early and often. Plus, it gets the hubby into the holiday spirit, so we're not doing that last-minute thing. It kickstarts our hollies and jollies. We're in. Where do I score some tickets? Just go to upstatelights.com. That's upstatelights.com. We should all go together.
The Upstate Holiday Light Show is going on now at Greenville Pickens Speedway. Enjoy the magic of the Christmas season with family, neighbors, and friends. Drive through a nighttime Christmas wonderland as 32 million colors set the sky ablaze, synchronized to the music of your favorite holiday classics. Twice the animals and the carnival rides are back. UpstateLights.com.
Spectrum Business is proud to support small businesses with the best internet and phone services at the best value. But we want to do more.
What's the
Limited time. Get 1 month of service.
what's the one Christmas song you can't stand? Individual song or performance of a song by somebody.
Well, this is personal, and you didn't hear it, so I can't. Tim did a version of "I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas" as Ed Orgeron last year, and it's the worst thing I've ever heard in my entire
As
life.
Ed Orgeron.
It was not good. It was not good.
I want a tiger for Christmas. Go
No.
Tigers.
Yours would be excellent. His was not. It was so bad it was funny. So I didn't pull the plug on it, but everyone in the room, was that last year or was it the year before? I can't remember, but still. That's when I try to, I mean, people will say Christmas shoes and stuff, but that was a good song. It just got overplayed. I know, like the song he hates the most is "Wonderful Christmas Time" by Paul McCartney.
Simply having a wonderful Christmas time.
I'm trying to think of it. So a Christmas song that comes on, you automatically just change the
it comes
channel.
on the radio and you're like, nope.
Yeah.
Like if there's one Christmas song you never had to hear again the rest of your life, what would it be? And it can just be the song in general, but I'm looking for like an artist rendition.
The Christmas song that Mariah Carey does that everyone loves.
All
so
I
much.
want for Christmas
Because
is you.
I heard it almost as much as we built this city on rock and roll.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we get it. You like the song. Stop playing it.
I love that song.
It's really hard to get mad at a Christmas song, though. It's still a Christmas song.
There is one that grates on me. And it's funny because I really like the artist. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band's Santa Claus is Coming.
Oh, come on.
I hate it. Only because
The Clarence Clemens play as
hate it.
doing
And
the
I don't-
ho-ho and blowing the horn at the end. Come on.
And I don't hate it. Hate it. I hate that when you get to the end of it, they just go, Santa Claus is coming for 27
But
minutes.
it's
And they don't say anything else.
Yeah, but
Just that.
it's
Over.
it's about the saxophone. It's
So play the saxophone more. Stop singing Santa Claus is coming to town for 22 minutes. Play the saxophone.
and I've never seen the video of when they made it, but what did Clarence Clemens do to crack Bruce up so much that he starts laughing while he's singing it? I've just always been curious about that.
It's so repetitive. I went to the bathroom and it was playing, and I'm like, Alexa, turn off now.
Glad you're not a monk that has to do Gregorian chants or something. Boy, you would go crazy. Just
If I
chanting the
was,
same thing over and over
I'd
again.
be one of the ones from Monty Python. You know, hold on.
Stephen, I'm sure whatever Tara said about the program was very favorable. She was a frequent guest in the beginning of the program.
Why would anybody say anything negative about the Upstate Pulse, the greatest nerd show in the history
Well,
of nerd
some
shows?
would say that show's still on.
You say that. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is ESPN Upstate. Rob Alonso and you, 844-477-3776, 844-GSP, ESPN. Text us on the Ingles Market text line 71307. I'm just going to jump right into the lunch breakdown here. Let's start with Adam. I don't need a sounder. We're deep enough in the show, right? Oh, no, go ahead and play it. You pulled it up. You already have. You did the work.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented.
Alonso's work is important, people.
Wide world of sports is going on here.
Rob, it's not lunchtime until that guy screams lunch. It's just not.
The lunch breakdown to 3 things you have to know before you keep having lunch with your friends, family, coworkers, and the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. We're 40. By the way,
Not everyone starts lunch at the same time, you know? Maybe at a late meal.
I say that as if either one of us takes a lunch break. Neither one of us takes.
By the way, I eat at the same time every day.
Yeah, during whatever interviews at 1:20.
Well, it's somewhere around 1 o'clock. Yes.
I'm a late lunch guy. Like when I worked in an office, I'd take my lunch at like 3 in the afternoon. Take my lunch, come back, have 1 more hour to work. Yeah, that's the way. Item number 1 on the lunch breakdown. We mentioned it just a minute ago, so I won't spend a ton of time on it. Looks like Tony Elliott may not be gone after all. It's not a foregone conclusion that he stays or that he goes. He was negotiating with Virginia. They hit a snag in negotiations yesterday. He's now off the table as it appears. He's now off the table as their number 1 lead candidate for the University of Virginia head coaching job. He may still very well be in consideration, depending on the negotiations. Also, it's gone quiet on the Duke front, too. Remember, Duke was the first team to reach out to Tony Elliott and initially looked like that might be a potential fit. But since then, we really haven't heard anything else since it was announced that Jason Garrett was being considered a candidate for that position as well. But negotiations seem to have broken down. So for now, doesn't look like there is a move out in front of them. Item number 2 on the lunch breakdown later in the show. Oh my goodness. Would you look at this? What a shock and or revelation by the National Collegiate Athletics Association. When they want something done, boy howdy, they can move fast and efficiently, can't they? Is the sarcasm dripping off your speakers yet?
You said boy howdy.
Boy howdy. The NCAA came out 6 days after the ACC championship game. Remember in that game, Kenny Pickett used a fake slide to score a touchdown. He got to the 40-yard line. He pulled up, threw his left leg out front and his right leg back as if he was going to slide. Saw 3 Wake Forest defenders hold up to prevent, targeting him. And then he just faked the slide and kept going. Ended up scoring a touchdown in the Pitt win over Wake Forest. Well, a memo passed down by the NCAA yesterday is telling officials that they should interpret a fake slide, as the NFL does, as a player surrendering himself and end the play immediately. The memo states, quote, anytime a ball carrier begins, simulates, or fakes a feet-first slide, the ball should be declared dead by the on-field officials at that point. The intent of the rule is player safety, and the objective is to give a ball carrier an option to end the play by sliding feet first to avoid contact. To allow the ball carrier to fake a slide would compromise the defense that is being instructed to let up when the ball carrier slides feet first. The memo states that such a play is not reviewable in the future. It came after that 58-yard touchdown run on the first possession of Pitt's 45-21 ACC title win over Wake Forest. So, just so we're aware here, we have said that there are problems with targeting. Not that targeting exists as a problem, but there are problems within the targeting rule that's been in place for a few years now. The NCAA has done nothing to address it. Kenny Pickett face slides. By the way, they're doing the right thing here. Just so we're clear, this is the right decision.
I heard Acho say this morning that this will forever be called the Kenny Pickett rule.
100%.
So you got your name on a rule.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
Oh.
And you scored.
I ain't mad at Kenny Pickett. Taking advantage of a loophole in the rules is gamesmanship, baby. That's gamesmanship. I ain't mad at a little gamesmanship. But as soon as it happened.
See, that implies that it was all premeditated. I think it was just a spur of the moment thing. He went, I'm good. Never mind.
Maybe it's still a fake slide, knowing the conditions. So, with that being said, the fake slide rule is now in place. The Kenny Pickett rule is now in place. The thing about this, though, the story isn't that the Kenny Pickett rule is in place, right? That's not the story. That's a good thing. That's the right thing. I ain't mad at Kenny for doing it, whether it was something he had thought of doing and broke it out, or something that was kind of impulsive in the moment. He looked up, saw all 3 defenders pulling up, so he said, screw that, I'll keep going. I'm not mad at Kenny Pickett. I'm not mad at the NCAA. They're doing the right thing here. This is the rule that needed to go into place. I said on Monday's show that they need to change this rule now. This rule needs to be in place before the bowl games start. That's how important it is. And here we are 6 days later, and the NCAA was able to come up with a fix and enact it, put it into a memo, get the officials. That's what happens when they want to actually do a thing.
I'm not
their feet on everything.
But you know, this is an easy fix. I mean, this is an easy fix. No one's going to complain one on the other side. Boom, you take care of it, and it looks like you're doing your job. I get that they drag their feet on a lot of things, but this was so simple. So are you really, really surprised that they fixed it before the bowl games? That's what you wanted, and they did it because they listened to you and said, you know.
Let me clarify. I am not surprised. I know that when the NCAA wants something to happen, they are very capable of being efficient and quick to make a change. I know that they're capable of doing it. That's the frustrating part. In so many other situations, they are not efficient and quick. That's why it's frustrating. We have had targeting issues for years in the league or in the association. Years. And there have been plenty of people who have provided plenty of solutions. I don't know why I'm falling apart here. Have provided plenty of solutions to fix some of the issues with the targeting rules as written. And the NCAA has done nothing with them. Oh, we'll discuss it. This one, there was the cry of, hey, that can't be okay. 6 days later, boom, fixed. Just like that. Just like that. They can do it, ladies and gentlemen. It's just more often than not, they don't. It's really that simple. Finally, item number 3 on the lunch breakdown. Our college football awards were handed out earlier this week. And we now have a Heisman Trophy frontrunner like by a lot. Bryce Young, Alabama quarterback, won the Maxwell Award for the best player in college football, the Davey O'Brien Award for the best quarterback, ahead of a likely Heisman Trophy win on Saturday. Bryce Young is a massive favorite for the award amongst the 4 finalists. The quarterback goes into Saturday, according to BetMGM, as a minus 5,000 favorite. Minus 5. You know what that means? That means you have to bet $5,000 to win $100 if he wins the Heisman.
Alabama doesn't beat Georgia. Would he be the favorite? Because
if he put up the same numbers, but they lost, yes. Yes. 314 to 462, 4,322 yards, 43 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Lonzo, a quarterback ratio of what's that work out? About 10.3 to 1? That's pretty solid, yeah? That's pretty solid effort.
Sounds like an Ohio State quarterback from, a year ago.
That's nuts. 43 TDs, 4 interceptions. Oh, yeah, and 3 rushing touchdowns, by the way, if you just want to pad the stats just a little bit. Heisman on Saturday night. You got Pitt quarterback Kenny Pickett, plus 3,000 on the money line. Ohio State quarterback CJ Stroud is plus 1,600 on the money line.
Glad he turned it around.
He really did. Week 3, we were asking if they needed to change quarterbacks.
Yep.
We really were. After the Oregon loss, we were like, are they going to have to change quarterbacks? And then CJ Stroud, now he's going to New York for the Heisman finalist ceremony. Michigan D lineman Aiden Hutchinson will be there as well. Sorry, guys. This ain't the year it goes back to defense. You don't have to like it. It won't always go to a quarterback, but this is a quarterback award. All right. By the way, can I just tell you that the fact that Jordan Davis of Georgia won the Bednarik Award and not Aiden Hutchinson is ridiculous. All right. It's ridiculous. Davis is good, but Aiden Hutchinson is a monster. Tell me this. Explain this to me, Lonzo, if you can. The votes for the Bednarik Award came out. Jordan Davis won it. He's that big monster dude from Georgia. He's a gangster, no doubt. How did Aiden Hutchinson get an invite to the Heisman Trophy ceremony, but was 9th in the Bednarik Award voting? Explain that to me.
I can't.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah, the fact that a defensive guy's even going, I can't explain that either.
9th in the best overall defensive. He's a Heisman finalist, but he's the 9th best college football defense player. Come on now. Quick break. We wrap up hour number 1 after this on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
No, we do it because it's the right thing to do. Our clients trust us with their retirement savings, and we know how important that responsibility is. So we take the time to really get to know them. Get to know them how? We make sure we understand their unique goals, finances, health, family, and lifestyle, so we can tailor their portfolio to their specific needs. Our goal is to help them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Sounds like a big responsibility. You must make big commissions then, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We have one single transparent fee that's structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Borderlands Comics and Games, proud sponsor of the Upstate Pulse, has been Upstate South Carolina's leader in comics and games for over 30 years. Borderlands has over 300,000 comics, graphic novels, and games. Need some quick cash? Who doesn't? Borderlands is always buying comics, toys, games, and collectibles. No one pays more, and they'll treat you and your items with respect. Lawrence Rose, check him out on Instagram and Facebook.
The weather is saying Rock 101 instead of
Oh, cool.
ESPN
That's not our
Upstate.
station.
Yeah. Well, it starts out going because courtesy of, all the weather starts out saying 106.3 WRD, but it always ends with the right tag.
Yeah.
And which I will just kill it, but I emailed the powers that be, and hopefully they will take care of it. But if they tell me to take care of it, I don't have their email.
And right now, for a limited time, radio listeners get up to $800 off MSRP. To get this Echelon exclusive radio discount, text Shelley to 818181.
Me, look at me, look at me.
Hour number 1 going in the books. Hour number 2 going to be a busy one, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, I want to have a conversation about analytics. I heard Mina Kimes say something really interesting on ESPN early. It was either yesterday or this morning, but it popped up on my Twitter feed earlier. Big conversation about analytics because apparently a couple of former NFL coaches went on a rant about it. And Mina had a good take. And I want to respond to that because I've heard a lot of people cuss out the concept of analytics over the past couple of years. And I want to talk about that because I find them very, very interesting. Plus, Carolina has a new guy calling the plays for the Panthers this week. Will it work out? We'll break that down. At 1:20, we're going to be joined by the brand new head coach of the Greenville USLW League team. Miss Julie Carson will join us on the show. At 1:35, Mark Shelley, the voice of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, will join us on the show. And then we got a big final hour lined up, too. It's all coming up on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Ooh, good timing on the drop there. Al Unser Sr. I went fishing with him once.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm. And his son. I was like 8.
Basketball, they are set to return to action as they match up against Appalachian State tonight. We'll have that broadcast for you right here. Download the Score app today, lightning fast sports alerts, so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Have you heard the Rob Brown Show?
I have for years said, now that we have the technology, I don't understand why.
Upstate lights in the first break.
Okay.
Now I have when the lights go down in the city. So,
and the sun shines on the bay. Do I want to go down in my city? Oh, 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 oh. Can't do it. Can't do a Perry.
you can't do it without doing it loud, for sure.
Yeah. Islands in the stream. That is what we are.
How'd you go from there to that?
How could we be wrong? Run away with
Whose part are you singing?
Yes. Dolly and Kenny. That's how I roll. I got I'm anti-karaoke. Right? I hate karaoke.
I saw the
Courtney takes me to karaoke night last night, and that's all she wanted. She's like, please sing this with me.
Oh, did you actually sing that with her? You cannot go on stage without being stage robbed, so I'm sure you killed it, of course.
We have fun. She's like, you're doing Dolly's part. I was like, nope. You're bringing me up here. Nope. The show that brings the damn noise is back on your radio, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show goes now. It's ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for letting us be a part of your day every day. Thank you for being a part of ours. Mean it. Love you. Thank you. Busy hour coming up. We got Julie Carson, who is the head coach of the Greenville USL W League team starting up in May. She's going to join us coming up here in about 17 minutes. Mark Shelley, play-by-play voice of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, will join us after that to talk a little local upstate hockey. We going to be busy, y'all. We going to be busy on the broadcast. Hope you'll join us. 844-GSP-ESPN. Ingles Market text line's open at 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air. You can also tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word, and at ESPN Upstate. If you want to get to all of us, let's jump right into this hour of the show. I heard a very interesting take earlier this morning from Mina Kimes, who has become one of the lead voices on ESPN, and which I have very much enjoyed. I think Mina does a fantastic job. She was on Around the Horn a couple of days ago, and I found it interesting. In fact, if you don't mind, let me get the sound of this computer over here. This is Mina Kimes on First Take talking about the concept of analytics. She's in an argument with Bill Kalashaw, who I also like, and you'll hear Reality's voice as the moderator of the show. Here's what Mina had to say.
Well, you asked if it was reasonable, and I would say it's not reasoned in this case when it comes to Parcells and Johnson, who are, I admire a lot. I just disagree with them here because they're arguing that NFL head coaches are becoming too reliant on analytics, just making them too aggressive. But neither of them give examples of decisions that they've disagreed with. In fact, both of them gave examples of decisions they liked, from the Ravens most recently and the Patriots going for two. And what bothers me is this perpetuates this sort of a straw man, which unfortunately I think my colleague Tim Kalashaw might have contributed to a little bit here, which is that when coaches are making these decisions in games, they're looking at a spreadsheet and it's a binary yes or no based on a model. The model tells you, based on field position, score, success in the past, whatever, whether it's what your win probability is in these moments. But it's just one piece of data that coaches take into consideration, along with injuries and matchups, and do we have a good play call? And I think what happens is you end up with this binary where it's a yes or no when it's just one more input in a variety of inputs.
Just look at his watch because Mina was giving a collegiate dissertation on analytics, and you have someplace to be, Tim
I'm sorry for
we can eliminate
suggesting that
you
there's
now.
context and that modern coaches aren't idiots. I guess I want to go back to what I was saying about the straw man. The straw man is the notion that anyone is arguing only a model should be taken into consideration. No analytics person actually thinks that.
Yes.
They're just presenting the data, as Pablo said, as another piece of information that should be considered alongside many other football things.
Chef's kiss. Mwah. Mina, you glorious human being. Thank you. Thank you, Mina Kimes, for being correct on this.
Whether she's right or not, and I get you have TV time, so you need to fill it out. She didn't need to take that long to explain it.
You do, because what happens is you give the 15-second elementary answer, and a guy like Kalashaw goes, no. No. So what you have to do is present the full argument to make a guy like Hallishaw try to break it apart and tell you what's wrong. And she is right. I saw the quote from Bill Parcells, and I'd like to go ahead and tell you that in the very second sentence, he tips his cards a little bit. He shows his hand a little bit. Here's what Parcells said in USA Today about analytics. He said, quote, "This analytics stuff, I don't care for it. This is get off my lawn guy talking. But when you start talking about analytics, everybody's an expert. Analytics are nothing but statistics. I don't want to sound like I don't believe in statistics. I used statistics, but I don't believe the percentages apply in every situation. When I was coaching, I went for it on fourth down quite a bit. I wasn't doing it because of the percentages. I was doing it because I had Jumbo Elliott and Mark Bavaro as blockers. They were pretty dominant. You could count on them. But for someone who says you should go for it on 4th and 1 because that's what the book says, what you don't know are the mismatches. You're a little more reluctant to go for it when Reggie White is over there. All right, Bill, let me take your argument apart since you can't take Mina's apart. Couple of things. Number one, I do appreciate him being honest about being get off my lawn guy. All right? Because this is absolutely a get off my lawn guy take.
He's right, though, but go ahead.
No, he's not, and I can tell you why. You ready? I can break this down for you. Analytics are nothing but statistics. Correct. Do you know what we use statistics for? Literally everything. Literally everything. We use statistics for everything. And when I say everything, I'm talking about you, yourself. You take statistics into every decision you make. You may not actively know that you're doing it. If you meet somebody who says, yeah, I'm not going to go snow skiing. Why? Because statistically, it's a more dangerous activity to undertake than having brunch, right? It's a higher percentage chance that you're going to get screwed up and hurt. So you won't do it. I know it's a far-fetched analogy, but it works. Live with me. All right. Number two, I don't believe the percentages apply in every situation. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. If you are failing at the RPO 90% of the time, you're going to stop doing the RPO. And if you don't, you're an idiot. That is literally taking the statistics into play. Now, you might be doing it because, well, I can see that the RPO isn't working, so we should get rid of it. And that's fine. But if you can see it's not working, that means that because statistically, it's not working. And it's so lopsided that you can tell.
Well, let's see. Statistics say if I tell Rob he's wrong, according to the sheet, I'm probably going to get my butt handed to me. So I shouldn't do that. The sheet.
But
a bad day. So I got a good shot of getting this one over. So I'm going to go for it.
You have just done exactly what Mina Kimes said.
It's about the sheet, man. Go to your phone or whatever. There are crutches that you're going to. Someone else has figured out that, hey, I know you're a haughty intellectual and you could spell anything, but for me, I have to use Google. I'm sorry. I just do. But if you have to go to the sheet instead of going,
why you go to Google to spell words? Because statistically, it gets it correct more.
I go to Google to spell words because there's haughty intellectuals that put it together and they're smarter than me.
Correct. Which means statistically, they are more accurate than you are.
See, I think you're arguing about something that's not really, it's not really, it's about the sheet. It's not about the statistics. No. It's the fact that it looks like you have to do what everyone else says you have to. And I get it's compiling data. I get all that. It's a visual. It's a look. You don't need to do, well, according to you have to do this. What's wrong with instinct? What's wrong with, using your eyes?
Because if something works 70% of the time,
he's using the haughty voice, by the way, if you didn't know.
Because it's important.
So you can recognize it in the future.
So let me go back to what Mina Kimes said in the middle of her take. She said, guys like Bill Parcells are creating a straw man here. They are acting as if those of us who say analytics are actually good for coaching only look at a sheet and go, analytics says do this, so we will do that. And that's not what happens. An informed decision is better than an instinctual decision, right? An informed decision is better than an instinctual decision. 99.999% of the time, you want to be informed about a decision, not base a decision off your instinct. Now, there are some people who are going to go, I don't know, Rob, I did this thing because I was gut feeling it and it worked out. I'm not saying instinct doesn't work. I'm saying statistically speaking, if I got to decide, here, I'll use Bill Parcells on example, all right? He said, I wasn't doing it because I had the percentages. I was doing it because I had Jumbo Elliott and Mark Bavaro as blockers. Cool. And I would bet you, if we went and tracked all the fourth downs that Bill Parcells went for, I would bet you the plays where he had Jumbo Elliott and Mark Bavaro as lead blockers probably had a higher statistical chance of being successful fourth down conversions, right? The stats are going to show you that fourth down conversions with Elliott and Bavaro both on the field together against a certain defense work at a higher percentage than if you're missing one of those two guys. Now, Parcells is going to go, no. I just know that Jumbo and Mark are good blockers, and I just know I can get it. And that's cool. But you can point out whether it works in the analytics or not, in the statistics, right? Harbaugh going for 2 with that play that the Ravens drew up the other day. He didn't just do it for fun. He didn't just do it because there was an instinct that it would work. He did it because on that sheet in front of him, he saw the defense and he has a statistic about how many percentage points this play works in that situation. And if it wasn't for TJ Watt, and that doesn't mean that an informed decision is going to work every time either. Sometimes you make an informed decision and something crazy happens. TJ Watt is not of this world. Right? He's a different caliber player. 90% of defensive ends are going to chase down the play action there. 90% of defensive ends are going to come off the edge. They're going to see the handoff. The rule of a defensive end is hit the nearest back that can hurt you. In that case, it'd have been the running back. 90% of defensive ends doing what 90% of defensive ends do. He's going to collapse down, take the running back. Boom, Lamar's got he's a little chunk out. Instead, TJ saw it was a fake, chased down Lamar, got in the way of a throw, the 2-point conversion fails. I get it. And a lot of people will, if kick field goal, might win in overtime. What are the Ravens' statistics for winning in overtime? If the Ravens statistically lose 80% of the time in overtime, why not go for 2 if that play works X percentage of the time, right? Numbers aren't bad. When do we get to this point where if somebody goes, statistically speaking, nerd? Yeah, but I know better what is more likely to work than, let me guess.
All right, Robert.
Wow.
You keep the nerds in baseball. Don't put the nerds in football, okay? Football don't need no nerds. Football didn't ask for no nerds.
We big muscle man.
Exactly.
We hit, we run, we tackle. We eat, we drink, we sleep.
Ogre is our hero.
Nerds.
Only Ogre from the first one, not from the second one. Is that all right? You all right? That looked like that hurt.
It was a little weird.
It's like, did I get stuck?
Numbers aren't bad, guys. Numbers aren't bad. Texas says, I work in stats and data all day, and we remind folks all the time, data is one snapshot that adds to your body of knowledge. The data doesn't solve problems. The data causes you to ask questions. Yes. Nobody.
My considerable amount of hair is hurting really bad right now. Thank you, Texter.
Nobody looks at the sheet. I don't know why I have to act this out. It seemed important at the time.
Just trying to figure out what that sheet is.
It looks like, it's a format for a Furman basketball game.
Okay.
Nobody looks at the stat sheet and goes, okay, number, percentage, and it says do this. That's not how it works when you coach the analytics.
That's what it appears to be, though.
That's fine.
That's what it appears to be. Whether it is or not, it appears to be that way, and it looks like you can't make your own decision. You can't go with your gut. You have to go with what it says on the sheet. I'm not saying that's entirely a bad thing. It's just not. It's not a good look. And yeah, I know football, like everything else, evolves, and you need to get past all that macho stuff. Well, maybe I will when I die.
That's the left-hand turn I didn't know we were taking. Let's go to break. When we come back, Miss Julie Carson is that. By the way, Texas is a good point. Don't they use stats when they draft and look at free agents? So why not use it in games? Take a bow, Texter. Take a bow.
No, they have them,
Take a
in their
bow.
underwear running 40s and stuff. That's how they do that. Yeah.
You're right, Texter. Pull over, stand on the side of the internet or the interstate, and take a bow. Julie Carson is the head coach of the USLW League team coming to Greenville in May. We're going to talk to her next, right here on the Rob Brown Show. Rob, Lonzo, and you. This is ESPN Upstate.
Upstate Lights.
Listen, I want you to take your phone right now, unless you're driving. Do it when you get to work. And I want you to go to the website, upstatelights.com. Upstatelights.com. And when you do, you are going to buy tickets and a fast pass to go see the Upstate's favorite holiday tradition, the Upstate Holiday Light Show. Now through the end of the year, drive through a nighttime Christmas wonderland with 32 million colors setting the sky ablaze, synchronized to the music of your favorite holiday songs. You can take your time and park and enjoy. You can drive as many laps around the Greenville Pickens Speedway as you would like. You can enjoy smart carnival rides. You can feed farm and exotic animals inside the petting zoo, either from your car, get out and walk around. They've got concessions. They've got a kids show as well, playing on a different channel. It is an incredible experience. I got the chance to do it last year, and I'll be going back this year. Make sure you go to upstatelights.com, buy your ticket, buy the fast pass so you don't have to wait in line, and enjoy the Upstate's favorite holiday tradition, the 2021 Upstate Holiday Light Show. Is that Julie?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Muy bien.
Basketball, they are set to return to action against Apple tonight. The Score app today, lightning fast sports alerts, so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley. Weekends at the Well are back for Furman University basketball. Bonsecourt Wellness Arena in downtown Greenville is the site. 4 games over 3 different dates, and tickets are available now at FurmanPaladins.com. Mark your calendars for January the 8th, February 5th, and February 19th. 4-game packs starting at just $40. Individual game tickets are on sale. All the information at FurmanPaladins.com. It's weekends at the Well. Furman basketball returning to downtown Greenville.
I'm Chelsea Messenger, helping you beat the books with BetQL. The Army-Navy game, the pageantry, the patriotism, and the under. For 15 straight years, the under has hit, including last year's 15-0 win by Army. And while the line has been creeping down all day, Army has gone under in 6 of its last 8 games. Navy has done it in 5 of its last 7. And the weather will only help matters. Rain showers with a steady wind. 2 triple option teams, but only 1 option on how to bet.
Fightful is reporting that Gargano did not re-sign with WWE and is a free agent.
Yeah, he's got new merch out.
Does he?
I just saw it. Yeah. You know about Chris Jericho, right?
No.
In the hospital.
Really? What happened?
Non-COVID related. Yeah, they're not saying what. He just did a podcast while he's there, and he sounds.
In the hospital?
No. Before he went in the hospital. While he's in Europe, and he's doing a podcast talking about the Beatles thing, because he's a big Beatles fan. Him and 2 of his buddies were talking about it. Yeah, and they were talking about it, and you can hear in his voice he sounds rough. And I just thought he was just hoarse from singing, but they had to cancel one. Fozzy had to cancel one of their shows already. Let's see, Chris Jericho. I'm feeling good. They just wanted to observe me overnight, and I'm in the right place, not COVID related. So they're not saying what it is, but I think it's upper respiratory, like I said, because of how he sounded.
Today's pros need today's tools, and nobody understands that better than the Home Depot. Our app makes it simpler to get supplies ordered and delivered. Our online project calculators cut guesswork and last-second supply runs. Job site delivery puts what you need where and when you need it, and rental puts the right equipment in your hands, but not your overhead. That's how today's pros get more done. New tech, new tools, old-fashioned hard work. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
5G is here. With the big carriers, wanting to sign a pricey long-term contract and get in on action. Well, no more. Because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide. With plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299. All on America's protected 5G coverage, 5G phone, less money. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no device required, actual availability, coverage, and speed.
This portion of the Rob Brown Show is sponsored by Pfizer. Come rain or shine, high winds or mild breeze.
Time to talk a little soccer, ladies and gentlemen, and I am honored to have her make her debut here on the Rob Brown Show, a place I believe we will hear the voice of Miss Julie Carson many, many times moving forward. Julie is the new head coach and technical director of the United Soccer League W League team that will begin play here in Greenville in May of 2022. And Julie joins the show right this very second. Miss Julie, welcome. It is so good to have you. And I'd say welcome to the upstate, but you've been around working at Clemson, et cetera. But welcome to Greenville. We're so glad to have you.
Thanks, Rob. It's great to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you today.
Of course. Very, very happy to have you. And before we get started, obviously, congratulations on the gig. I know those of us that have been Triumph fans for a long time have been over the moon about getting a W League team, about getting play started in May. Talk to me a little bit about the excitement of being named the first head coach of the Greenville W League team. We're still waiting on a name, obviously, but just a little bit about the excitement of getting this opportunity.
Sure. Well, I definitely say to the those that are listening, make sure you cast your vote on what you want the team name to be. But I'm absolutely ecstatic and very humbled by the opportunity that they've provided me with. And I think it's going to be a great, situation for all the women here in the upstate returning currently here, for young girls to come out and see some quality talent. I mean, obviously we've already started working the phones and email and trying to reach out to, college coaches, players that have exhausted eligibility, and just trying to really build obviously a solid foundation and a solid team that will compete with the best of the best and win championships. And we want it to be exciting. We want people to be really excited about the players they're going to get to see over the summer and witness. So, obviously we're just trying to drive that train forward right now. And the enthusiasm, what I saw in response to some of the releases yesterday was just awesome. It was just awesome.
We are talking to Miss Julie Carlson. She is the first head coach of the USL W League team here in Greenville that will start play in May. Before we go any farther, Miss Julie, I do have to ask you a question. Do you have a preference on the name?
I have no comment. I will embrace whatever name. I will embrace whatever name the community chooses. I was excited about the 5 that were selected, and so we will represent in the best professional way possible, whatever that name turns out to be.
I love it. I love it. Julie Carlson joining us here on the show, the head coach of the Greenville W League team that's starting up in May. Obviously, Julie, we have seen the Triumph, 3 years of existence, 3 USL League One finals, 1 USL League One championship, and a couple of runners-up to go. The soccer community here in Greenville, I think, is one of the best in the country. I've been impressed, not just with the size of it, but the passion of it. They appreciate excellence, and especially what we've gotten out of the Triumph. And I know that you guys are going to have the same expectations for the W League team. Talk to me a little bit about what it means to see what the Triumph have done over the years and to have this W League team work to build its own legacy alongside what the Triumph have done.
Oh, well, no pressure at all.
None.
None. Building a women's team here to create the same foundation that the men have. The men have done great things. Coach Harks has just done great things. Joe Irwin and Chris and what the team has built have just done some great things and really brought a whole new atmosphere of soccer to the upstate. And, we want to continue to add on to that. Obviously having an opportunity to create equity and bring a women's team in. I mean, we had some men's players come in yesterday and introduce themselves, and it just, they were awesome about just saying, hey, we're here to support the women's team and see it, get launched in the positive direction. And so I think, just that balancing act to actually have a women's team along with the men's team is like, to me, a Power 5 program, a professional level program that, we want to establish that same trend of championships, success, that fans can continue to have passion about for both teams.
Julie Carlson is the head coach of the USL W League team coming to Greenville in May of 2022. One thing I find really interesting about this, Julie, I'm a big proponent of women's sports and advancing women's sports on the show. I love that there is this really unique opportunity, I think, in Greenville, not just to advance the W League team alongside the men, but to create its own identity, which I'm kind of working under the assumption that that's the reason that this team will have a separate name, a separate brand, even though it's next to the Triumph. You guys have a real opportunity to advance women's soccer in the area, which, if you're like me and you believe that the effort to grow soccer starts at a grassroots level and moves national, what a huge opportunity for you guys with the W League team to kind of have the resources that Joe and Doug and Chris and all these guys from the Triumph have gained by building the Triumph, but then to advance women's sports, the W League, in a very passionate soccer community. That's gotta look like a huge opportunity for you.
Oh, it's a huge opportunity. I mean, we've seen, women's leagues try to launch themselves, and they've been successful. They've had their failures, and I think that the embrace of soccer at this level for women in this area of the state is huge. I know that the youth side with the girls has continually grown, and I think this is just another stepping stone to get more young girls involved in the game and continue to let it grow. And, I think the backing of what Joe, Doug, and Chris have done and their team, I think that support, that's where it starts. Those resources is where it starts. The belief and the passion behind all of that is where it starts. And that's the first piece of foundation. And then bringing in some leadership and bringing in quality players and players that the local community can identify with. Some I can't even name right now, but, I think all of that is just going to bring such a heart and an identity to the team. I think it's important that these women have their own identity with the organization. Obviously we know the Greenville Triumph, and they've created that identity. And I think, the vision of the leadership here is, with equity and with inclusion, being such a big proponent that we have to launch this women's team into their own identity. They need to strengthen themselves, to have their own success, and their own brand, I think is extremely important to the equity of women's sports.
Julie Carlson is the head coach of the USL W League team starting up here in Greenville in May. Let's talk a little bit about you and your background, Julie. You have spent some time at Clemson working there. You have been a volunteer assistant coach. You have been the head coach at Anderson University, Jacksonville State, VMI, et cetera. I mean, tell us a little bit about how your history has shaped you and prepared you to be ready for this opportunity here in Greenville.
I think throughout those years of experience, I've seen both great things happen, successes. I've also had failures, and I think that develops you as a professional when you experience both sides, just like defending and attacking, experiencing both sides of the ball. And it allows you to grow and perfect your craft over the years. I think I've had a lot of good mentors. I have a lot of really good friends in the business, where you can bounce ideas off of, and just that network and those relationships over the years help develop you as a professional. And also the players that have come through my time as a head coach, even as an operations director at Clemson. I mean, those relationships with those players and watching them excel, watching them, pick themselves up, watching them develop as people and as players. I think all of that has laid a great educational years of experience for me for this role. And, yes, I've built programs from the ground up, but I've also taken over programs that were already established and had to build and adjust culture and adjust the climate of the professionalism of those atmospheres. And, I think all of that has weighed heavily on me as a person, has weighed in the passion on how I feel so strongly about this opportunity for women at the next level, and how I feel like this experience will help really launch this W League team in the right direction.
Julie Carlson is the head coach of the USL W League team coming to Greenville starting up in May. Julie, last question. We'll let you go because I know you got a lot going on as you keep getting ready, the roster building and whatnot as we head quickly towards May. I fell in love with the Triumph when I moved here 2 years ago. I have been to nearly every home match. The supporter section at 110 has always been rocking. How much would it mean to you if that same passion and energy that we have seen at Triumph games, how important would it be, and how much would it mean to you to see that same enthusiasm for the W League team when they get started in May?
Oh, it's absolutely probably one of the most important components to making this team successful. That's what's going to bring players to Greenville. That's going to bring some of the best players in the country that are playing collegiately or, maybe have exhausted their eligibility and want to continue to play. I think that's what's going to bring those players into the area to want to play for this team. And that's the atmosphere we are striving for. That's the environment we want to have for those players. We want players to want to come and play here, and that they want to be a part of this. They want to be a part of this organization, be part of the upstate, and be part of the fan base and the passion of the sport here in this area during the time that they get to play. And I think the fans will sell that. I think that atmosphere will sell that. I would tell them, get out, buy your season tickets now. Bring that spirit, bring that drive, bring that energy to all of our games, and the players will come. And that's a big piece of the building of the foundation of all of this.
Love it. Julie Carlson is the head coach of the USL W League team coming to Greenville. You have your opportunity to vote on what the team name should be by going to greenvilletriumph.com and getting your vote in now. Julie, it is a pleasure to have you on the show. I look forward to it happening many, many times. I wish you all the success, and I cannot wait to see you out on the pitch on May. I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, Rob. I look forward to meeting you as well. And thank you, everyone, for listening today.
There you go. That is Miss Julie Carlson. She is the head coach of the USL W League team coming to Greenville in May of next year. Go to greenvilletriumph.com, put your vote in, and text us. Text us right now, 71307. What do you want the name of the team to be? The Ascent, the Glory, the Liberty, the Wrens, the Spark. Those are the finalists. Want to hear what you have to say. Mark Shelley, the voice of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, joins us next on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. That's a fun headline.
Yes, it is. Oh. Yeah, don't look all shocked like you've never missed
Bonzo,
before.
that was 90% in the trash can.
Yeah.
And then bounced out.
Yeah, that's happened to me. But
broke the laws of physics.
yeah, but I'm not giving credit when it happens to me. So I'm not giving credit to you. Oh, so now he's going to prove it by coming over there. Wow. Maybe you should check the analytics about how to throw the bottle correctly. Throw it. No. Grab the lid part.
I'm not comfortable with the axe throw. I think I'm gonna go reverse start, maybe. That was it. Reverse start. So the analytics say I go reverse start next time.
Yeah.
I'm going to grab that same bottle of water so that I can do that.
That's 864-448-3772. At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it. Charmin keeps you undisputed and the North Pole. Shiny, shiny, a brand new year. Come bless Charmin, happy new year. May your holidays be Charmin, be merry and brave. May all your friends be Charmin, clean wine. Charmin Ultra Strong just cleans better. Enjoy the go with Charmin. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on? So it's about that time for an oil change. We've got what you need. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge full synthetic or full synthetic mileage.
Just got a very cheery, smiley, laughy hello. Very friendly.
You're not me, though.
Joe, I know. I'm not saying I am. I'm just telling you. All right, let's change this to Mark Shelley.
Get help managing your money for the life and years ahead with Fidelity Income Planning. We'll look at what you save, what you'll need, and help you build a
What I sent you, you should watch later. Or now.
It's all night.
You might actually have time, but
Halo's
without
here.
sound.
I've seen it. Yes,
the new
please.
trailer? The new one.
Is it
just-
like new today?
Yeah.
New?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I saw one like a day or two ago. And yes, please.
I think it's new today. Maybe it was from a couple of days ago. About halfway through it, I think you see Master Chief, and it's like, okay, that works. But again, I just watched it without the sound, so. Someone just called you out on your brick. It was a brick too, by the way. It was bad. So bad.
Back to the phone lines we go as we continue our tour de force, Stay Local Professional Sports. We now welcome into the show one of my favorite play-by-play guys, and I'm not even blowing smoke. He does an incredible job as the play-by-play voice of your Greenville Swamp Rabbits. The seductive stylings of one Mark Shelley makes his return to the Rob Brown Show. Shelley, what's up, fella?
What's up, Rob? And you know what? I will never not be caught off guard by the dropping of the seductive voice. But, hey, I'll tell you what. Name me a better location to do a radio interview than sitting on the waterfront out front of the hotel here in Jacksonville tonight watching the boats come through and the drawbridges.
Wait.
So I'm having a a great opportunity.
Shelley, did you just ask me to name a better place than Jacksonville, Florida? Here, I'll go ahead. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Colorado, I'll keep going. California, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana. I got more. Jacksonville sucks, and I hope that you win that game like
Wow.
nothing,
Way
Shelley.
to go with all those places. That was awesome.
I was going to say, I don't know. You have to have a list sitting there. There's absolutely no way you rattled those off.
No, I listen, this is a true story. Third grade Miss Gherkin's class, we had to memorize all the states in alphabetical order, and I still have not forgotten that song.
I thought you were quoting the Animaniacs song. Okay. All right.
Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North and South Carolina, North Dakota, South Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, West Virginia, Washington, Wisconsin, Wyoming. Boom, Mark Shelley. That's why they pay me the medium bucks, buddy.
And I can't even do the alphabet backwards past the second letter.
All right, let's talk a little hockey with the voice of the Swamp Rabbits, Mr. Mark Shelley. Let's walk it back to Wednesday, first game of the year against the Orlando Solar Bears, which is interesting, Mark, because the Swamp Rabbits between South Carolina and Atlanta had I think we had 5 or 6 games on the books against South Carolina already. When you mixed Orlando in there, who we have not seen face to face yet. What would you say the team's response to that was to finally seeing some new faces across the blue line?
Yeah, I think it was refreshing for the team. I think there's no question about that. You play 4 straight games against South Carolina, and all 4 of them go into overtime. So that's when you're seeing the same team, let alone you're seeing them for the extra bit of hockey on all 4 of those nights. To see somebody different is certainly refreshing, and they get a game against Orlando, a game against Jacksonville. They've already seen Jacksonville twice, and then right back to Atlanta for 2 games here this weekend. So, you mix in that Orlando game, and that's one of the very few refreshing times that they've had so far in this early season. But, I think you saw it right away. They go up in the game and take that 2-0 lead, and Max Zimmer, it took him the whole period, but that 45 seconds left in that first period, very reminiscent of that overtime winner he had a week ago against South Carolina when they won, in that overtime game in North Charleston, coming down with a nice snipe there and giving themselves that lead. A bit of a rocky bit of hockey there in that third period with a couple of defensive zone turnovers. But other than that, this was full steam ahead for the Swamp Rabbits, and to do it against the first place team. That's what's so important about that game on Wednesday night. Yes, it was a one-off game. Yes, it was a fresh face, but that was the number 1 team in the South Division. Now they're tied at the top with the Florida Everblades, but it has put the Swamp Rabbits on a great trajectory forward, especially coming into this weekend with a lot of points up for grabs and 3 games in hand on those teams in the top part of the standings.
We were talking, Mark Shelley, a little bit about the start of the season for the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, because it was not the best start. It was not a good start, a little bit slow out of the gates, but the chemistry is built. The team is built. We have seen some absolute slugfest. And look, rivalry games are different. I don't care what sport it is. We saw I think 3 consecutive overtimes against the South Carolina Stingrays, but the deeper we get into the season, and obviously there's roster rotation, guys getting called up, guys getting sent back, which makes it a challenge, kind of, I think, almost unique to hockey at this level, maybe more than any other sport. That being said, it looks to be on a surface level that this team is starting to find itself a little bit.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that if you listen into the broadcast, you'll hear Lordo talk about on a consistent basis. This is how the ECHL works, and it's constant roster movement, guys getting called up, and that's what it's about. It's a developmental league for the at the end of the day for the AHL and ultimately the NHL. And to see guys go up, that's part of the game. But the guys that are here and the guys that do get to go up and then come back, they're finding that rhythm. And like you said, here we are going into the 18th game of the season as a rookie. You still count as a rookie on the official stats, but you're not a rookie anymore. You've played 18 games in the ECHL and in professional hockey. You're no longer a rookie. You're a guy that there's other guys turning to you and saying, hey, we need you to step up and you need to be a leader on this team because that's what you're here to do. And especially in the situation with the Swamp Rabbits, with it being such a young team coming into the season, and with the trades coming, we in the last 2 days they've gotten a little older on defense and a little more power back there on the back end. But this is a team that there really is no such thing as a rookie anymore, because they are coming together and putting up the points they need to and getting the job done. And in the games that don't go their way, they're finding ways to get points. I mean, this is a team that has 6 wins in its last 10 games, and 8 of those games they've gotten points in. So to see this team come together, find that identity, it took them a little while to get rolling, but now that they have, this is a team to watch out for.
Mark Shelley, voice of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, joining us here on the show. Swamp Rabbits away tonight. They are down in the worst city in America, Jacksonville, Florida. Mark, please get home soon for your own sake, my man. And these games away as we get ready, because for whatever reason, the schedule is kind of set up where we're streaks, right? Streak of home games, streak of away games, and yes, partially ECHL and part of just how the schedule falls. Has there been, in your eyes, has there been a difference? We have seen this team go on the road to Atlanta and have a couple of hat tricks. Is this team as good on the road as they are at home?
I think they're equally as good. I mean, it's a case of any given day, right? Sometimes you can play the better game on the road and just not get the result. And there's been cases of that, and there's been cases where it's, in talking with Lordo the next morning or after the game, after a home game, even after a win, he'll tell you, hey, wasn't our best hockey. But, I think this seems pretty consistent overall. There's no real downside to playing on the road other than, you don't get that extra momentum boost of having your home fans with you, but pretty consistent. I mean, the power play has worked well on the road. The penalty kill numbers are starting to climb back. They had a little bit of a falter there, but they're starting to climb back. They're starting to get consistent over the last couple of games. So I think the home and the away stretch are both pretty equal. And 2 games here on the road this weekend, tomorrow night in Atlanta, but then wrap it up with a Sunday game at home in the afternoon against Atlanta on Sunday.
Mark Shelley, voice of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. I got the chance after the last overtime loss to South Carolina last weekend, Shelley. I was talking to Todd Mackin up in the upstairs office about the, a little bit disappointing. There were some thoughts that maybe there was a little questionable officiating. Hey, you get some calls, you don't get some calls, etc. But one of the things I found interesting was he talked about the fact that those types of close losses that fans are disappointed. He said, look, nobody takes it harder than Andrew Lord does. Nobody is angrier about it than Andrew Lord. Talk to me a little bit about where Lordo is right now with your interaction with him, knowing that there have been a couple of games that were, just barely on the short side of the stick.
Yeah, you can see the frustration. You can hear the frustration when things don't go the way that he has it drawn up. I mean, he's a very technical coach, and he's obviously had success leading the team to the conference finals a season ago, and obviously with his success over in the UK. And so he demands excellence, and when it's anything short of that, he's going to let you know. And there have been times where even in those victories, there have been shortcomings with his expectations of this team. And so that's something that is unique. And I think that makes him so successful as a coach. And even on the down games, he's demanding on the victories as well. He's demanding the highest quality of hockey from his team, a consistent 60-minute game. And if they need to go in extra, the 67 minutes of consistent hockey. And when they don't play that way, he's going to let them know, and he's going to make the appropriate changes. So it's an ever revolving sort of range of emotions for Lordo, and that makes him such a great coach, is being able to sit down and demand high success from his team. And certainly, there have been nights where we have seen where they have executed that plan flawlessly, and they've been heavily rewarded for it.
Mark Shelley is the play-by-play voice of your upstate hockey team, the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. They are on the road this evening down at America's worst city, Jacksonville. They'll be in Atlanta on Saturday, and then a Sunday nighter back at the Well. Sunday afternoon back at the Well, 3 o'clock when they take on the Gladiators of Atlanta. My man, be safe down there in Jacks. Be safe headed to the ATL, and we'll see you back in Greenville on Sunday, big fella. Appreciate it.
Can't wait to see you out there, Rob.
You know it. That's my guy, Mark Shelley. I'm telling you straight up, I have met a lot of local play-by-play guys through my years that have covered all kinds of sports. I'm sincere when I tell you Mark Shelley's one of the best play-by-play guys I have ever heard at this level. That guy's going places. Love that dude. Quick break. We wrap up hour number 2. When we come back, then it's on to a very busy hour number 3, including at 2:20, Fanboy Friday. We got some wrestling takes to get in today on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate.
Let me take a moment to tell you about the Christmas gift that you need to give. The show.
Yep.
Why people don't read their emails.
Thousands of people protect their paychecks. Resolving tax debt for their claim. Call Optima now for 800-706-7944. 800-706-7944. 800-706-7944.
Ba-da-da-ba-ba-da.
This feature sponsored by Credit Karma. Not only can Credit Karma get your credit scores for free, Credit Karma can help you compare the best cards and show you which are the best rated by members. Get your free scores and find the right card for you at Credit Karma. Approval not guaranteed.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. Take this moment, formally retire. It's arthritis in my shoulder.
That's what it is. There it is.
I had to fight through the pain, but I got there. You were going to suffocate yourself, mister. Looks like you finally got it on.
Oh, the ref just ate it. I didn't even see that. I was like, what am I watching here?
This is not top 10.
No, goalie. No, goalie. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, my goodness.
Wow, that seems to offend you greatly.
That's atrocious. Good pass. Oh, no, you can't miss that.
It wasn't that
I
bad.
feel like there's another one coming. Yep.
All right, now that's yeah. Oh,
and another one. Oh, you got to put that down.
The only way it would be better or worse is if time ran out.
Yeah, right. Oh, oh no. Oh no, it bounced back. Oh no. Right in the dude's numbers. That is your punter of the year, by the way. That wasn't on him.
Was it really the punter of the year?
It's worse than your shots over there.
It's only worse because his hair makes him stand out so much.
Physically pained me.
Yeah. That was an incredible interception, though.
Jamar, that's a touchdown, dude.
One of those players concentrated.
Yeah. All right, putting a bow on hour number 2. Coming up in hour number 3, we got some good stuff coming your way. We are going to have Fanboy Friday at 2:20. We got some wrestling takes to break down and more, including something I'm interested to get y'all's perspective on concerning movie theaters. I'll tell you what I mean by that coming up in just a few minutes. What does South Carolina want to accomplish in their 15 bowl game practices? Same question for Clemson. We'll talk about that and more, plus Twitter trending topics to wrap it all up. My name is Rob Brown. The great one, Lonzo's at the buttons. Phone lines open, 844-GSP-ESPN. Text us, Ingalls Market text line 71307. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. What even was that? Oh, his knee must have buckled when he went to jump. That's rough.
So, are we not doing picks? I mean, it's.
We might do them off the air.
That's fine. We can do them in the office.
Yeah.
We can even go live and do them in the office. Like about, I don't know, 3:15 or no, about 3:07, something like that. Still upset that I turned that game off in the middle of the third quarter. Missed that miraculous comeback, even though they lost. Because I couldn't take it anymore. It was so embarrassing.
It really was hard to watch.
And before I turned it off, I was like, I can just leave this on, but if I turn this off, watch some sort of comeback, and it's like, the way they're playing, there's no way that'll happen. If I would have had an analytics sheet there, though, I could have checked the sheet, and it would have told me.
That's so mean, and I love it.
It could be accurate, too.
Functioning society thanks to uncaring people like Rob Brown who run a good job.
The thing that really makes this promo work is that you really don't know the lyrics. Because if you did, I don't know if it would
like
be
the
as
opening
funny.
line and the closing line, and that's all.
I don't think it would be as funny if you actually knew
Correct.
the lyrics.
Gotta love Tiger's kids running.
I
smack
hope he really said that. Although it sounds like something he would say, so it probably, yeah.
Sunday afternoon at 12:30. The NFL plays here on ESPN Upstate. And check this out. An official Rob Brown lockdown.
And away we go, ladies and gentlemen. The third, the final, the best, the money hour. The Rob Brown Show goes now. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. How do you do? Rob, that's me. Lonzo, the great one. That's him. And you are you. Appreciate you spending some time with us, letting us spend some time with you here on the show. 844-GSP. ESPN is the number, 844-477-3776. You can text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read it on the air. All of those are available for you to get in touch with us, and we hope that you will. This hour of the show, we got Fanboy Friday coming up in the next segment. I got a question about movie theaters. I want you to start thinking about. There was a movie theater back in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, which is where I grew up. Sun Plaza movie theater. Sun Plaza has been open since like the 1960s or something like that. Like generations of people from my hometown went to this theater. Announced yesterday our permanent close. Said nobody's going to the movies as much anymore. They can't make the money to stay open. So Sun Plaza is closed after like legitimately 70 some odd years in business. Is that the future? Is that the future for small movie theaters? I thought it was, but somebody made a really good argument to me just a minute ago about why that might not be the case. And we'll talk about that coming up in a minute. Carolina has a new offensive coordinator. Kind of. We don't know if he's interim or permanent, but what we do know is that Matt Rule, after he released Joe Brady earlier in the week, by the way, just 28 games, I think. 28 games, Joe Brady was the offensive coordinator, ran the ball just 18 times in a 33-10 loss to Miami. I think it's not really fair, right? Like once you get down 18-17, nothing, you got to throw the ball. You can't run anymore, right? It's not on Joe Brady. Problem wasn't Brady. We've already had that conversation. Running backs coach Jeff Nixon, who was Matt Rule's offensive coordinator when he was at Baylor, will be calling the plays moving forward. These two have been friends with each other since high school, and we have seen Nixon follow him around to different jobs over the years. Nixon said, quote, I think he feels comfortable that we can be on the same page of how he wants the game to be called. We are not going to put in a brand new offense in 2 to 3 days. I think he feels comfortable with how I'm going to call the game and how he wants our offense to look, end quote. I just want Mr. Nixon to know, Mr. Rule to know, and for you guys, Panther Nation, to know nothing's gonna change. You're gonna go back to I suspect you're gonna run the ball a little bit more, right? But at the end of the day, guys, the talent's just not there. All right? The talent's just not there. You can disguise a lack of talent for a few games early in the season. You can disguise a lack of talent by different schemes and doing things different than other defenses are used to. But in the NFL, you get exposed after 4 or 5 weeks, and the Panthers got exposed. They've built a bad roster.
Is Atlanta a better team than Carolina?
No, but that's not saying much about Atlanta, you know?
Right. So Carolina can win this game. And they could look like world beaters against Atlanta.
Yeah.
and people might fan.
You have been fooled by smoke and mirrors because it's not. Because it's not. By the way, they're not going to look like world beaters, even with the bad Falcons. They're not going to look like world beaters against Atlanta. Carolina's favored in this game, Lonzo, by 2.5 points at home over Atlanta. At home over, you know what that means? You get 3 for playing at the house traditionally, right? You get 3 points for having home field advantage, basically. It's not like a definite, but that's usually about where it works, which means that Vegas line setters right now actually believe the Falcons are a 0.5 point better than Carolina.
I am curious about this because I don't know, and I know you will know. Can you go back and look at lines from weeks before when they were at home? Does the fact that they don't fill the stadium like they should, could that be part of it? I want to know, because Vegas look and go, there is no home field advantage because the crowd is not there, and half the time it's a crowd from the other team, so that takes a point away. Is that possible?
Yeah, 100%. That's why I said it's not a steady rule, right? But traditionally, NFL fans get 3, or NFL home teams get 3. I think that's probably a fair assumption, right? Carolina's not getting, or I guess not having to give any additional points, right? Atlanta might only be but that makes it just slightly better, right? Now, instead of Carolina is believed to be a 0.5 point better than the Falcons at home, now it's Carolina is expected to be, or the Falcons being a 0.5 point better being on the road. Now it's Carolina seems to be a 0.5 point better than Atlanta in their own house. It doesn't really help you all that much, to be honest. Doesn't really help you all that much. I don't know, like, what, here's all I'm saying. And I'm not trying to be a pessimist. I'm trying to be a pragmatist. At the end of the day, this roster's bad. And it doesn't matter if you had the greatest offensive coordinator in history calling plays for this team. They're just not talented, unfortunately.
So you're saying Bill Belichick couldn't win with this team?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. If you brought Hoodie in, you'd be looking at a 2-year restoration project. I believe that. And the problem I have now is that the more I look at this, by the way, we saw right before we went to break for that last segment, Lonzo and I have the big stick on the TV here in the studio. And did you catch the reporter that was talking about the Matt Rule story? I did not see who.
No, I just saw the story. I didn't see the reporter.
Somebody is claiming that Panthers players are starting to complain about Matt Rule. And I'll tell you this, it's a possibility that there's just some beat writer in Charlotte who's trying to get some attention by making up a story, because that's a thing that less talented radio show hosts do here and there, right?
By the way, shocking to the hip breaking news, players on a team that's not doing well are disgruntled. Wow.
Yeah, but if they are of the if there's a number of players of the shared belief that the issues are being caused by coaching, I don't care if they're right or wrong, that gets a coach removed, right? It doesn't matter if they're right or wrong. That gets a coach removed. When you have players, and again, it may just be that some Charlotte beat reporters trying to get some clicks on the internet, because people will start rumors just to get attention on the internet. If you're less talented, that's what you do. All right. But it's a little tough to believe that ESPN runs with that story as a breaking news segment if there's not some fire to that smoke. You know what I mean? It's tough for me to believe that ESPN runs with the story of, hey, look, multiple players are now confident enough to come out and go, we don't like Matt Rule. then somebody just made that story up and it grew that amount of legs.
Name the players. I want to know who they are.
I don't have that, which is why I'm taking
I
this.
wasn't saying that. It's another one of those things. Do you believe the sources, or are you looking at a team that's not doing well, and are you making up the fact that maybe you're not really making up? Hey, players are not happy. Of course, they're not happy. They're losing.
But it's one thing to be to be dissatisfied. But here's the ultimate killer in this situation, Zoe. The ultimate killer in this situation is this means that your locker room chemistry doesn't exist. Your locker room chemistry stinks. And at the end of the day, you don't have to have every player on a roster like the head coach. What you do have is you have to have every player in the team buy into what the coach has built so that you have a good locker room chemistry. Even at the NFL, even with the Divas. If you go look at the teams that have won Super Bowls, you think Tampa Bay's got bad chemistry in that locker room right now? Even Florida Brady is having a great time in that locker room. And it doesn't mean that the locker, like there's one style of culture in the NFL that works best, right? Hoodie's locker room culture in New England is business, man. We're here for business. Bruce Arians down in Tampa we're here to have a good time and play football. And they both work. Andy Reid has had great chemistry in Kansas City. I would argue until this past off season, not his control, but everything that went on with, and I don't put it on him, but don't tell me Andy Reid wasn't distracted a little bit coming into this year with what he was dealing with his kid. And the start of the season for the Saints, how was the first half of the season for you guys, Lonzo?
It was a little rough.
It was a little rough. Andy Reid was distracted. Now that's kind of quieted down a little bit, suddenly the Chiefs are storming back. No shock. Got a good culture, right? Hoodie's culture with the Patriots this year. We're looking right now at a strong possibility of a Brady v. Belichick Super Bowl because the culture there works. If you have got guys coming out and starting this type of fire to get that kind of smoke going, that they're breaking into whatever show's on ESPN right now to talk about it, you got no culture in that locker room, at least not a cohesive one. And if you've lost the locker room, there's no coming back from that. You don't see many locker rooms fall apart the way that it feels that the Panthers locker room is falling apart right now and fix it under the same head coach. It's very, very rare. I'm trying to come up with an example off the top of my head where a locker room has broken apart and it's been fixed by the guy in charge. If you lose a locker room, it means you don't know how to keep it together, so you damn sure don't know how to fix it. We asked Rashad yesterday. I said, Rashad, what is the best place the Panthers can be in right now? And what is the worst place? I said the best place this team can be in is finish the rest of the season and get to maybe 8 wins. Maybe, at best. And I don't think it's happening. But I said the worst place this team can be in right now is they're in a total implosion. Total implosion. Firing your offensive coordinator after 28 games screams implosion. Going with a nepotism offensive coordinator and your running backs coach who's followed Matt Rule around school to NFL franchise screams of a lack of cohesion, of a lack of culture, of an implosion. And Rashad Beard, guy who covers the team but is also a fan, said, yeah, I agree with you. I think this team's on the verge of collapsing, on the verge of imploding. And the problem in the National Football League is when a team implodes, it's 3 or 4 years to get back minimum. And that's if you do it right. And the scariest part about this for the Panthers, Zoe, is that if I'm right, which I think I am, and if this is an implosion, which I think this is, and you lose it for 2-3 years, the problem is you need a good GM who's handling things the right way to get it back. I'm looking at the contract of Christian McCaffrey. I'm looking at the contract of Sam Darnold, and I'm thinking to myself, they don't have a GM who can step in and reset the clock for him. Their back's against the wall, and they don't have anybody with a flashlight to find their way out of this dark room.
See, this is implying that this is a great fall, like they've fallen from a great height. Where were they? They've been mediocre for a while. So and they're right back to where they were, mediocre. So I don't know that a supposed implosion would hurt that bad, because how far would the fall be?
Fair enough. Real quick, if you don't mind, is recruiting news breaking news? I mean, I think it is right now, right? I think it is. Well, yeah, it is, because we gave a Clemson glass break earlier. Let's give Clemson another glass break here. We got a little more breaking news for you. Clemson, who earlier we announced that Antonio Williams, who is a wide receiver at Dutch Fork, he is the number 4 ranked wide receiver in the state of South Carolina. He's like I forgot what it was. I have to pull the story again. But yeah, highly touted 4-star recruiter. Highly touted 4-star recruiter. Was expected to be a South Carolina commit, has flipped and signed with the Clemson Tigers. Well, as that happens, a scholarship has come open for him because Clemson has now lost its 3rd major commitment since defensive coordinator Brent Venables took the Oklahoma job. ESPN 300 defensive back Dalen Everett has decommitted from the Tigers, the number 43 ranked prospect overall. He is the number 7 cornerback overall as ranked by ESPN. An ESPN 300 player in Dalen Everett decommitting from Clemson just minutes ago.
I would call that breaking news. And breaking news is brought to you by our friends at BetQL.
Get better at betting by going to betql.com. Get smarter, beat the books with our friends at betql.com. Remember, Joe Giglio, host of BetQL Daily, joins us every Tuesday at 1:30 to break down numbers with us. So the 3rd commitment loss, but this one might be the biggest one so far. ESPN 300 defensive back Dalen Everett decommitting about 10 minutes ago. Number 43 ranked prospect overall, number 7 cornerback in the 2022 class, has decommitted from Clemson on the same day that Clemson steals one of the highest ranked wide receivers in all of South Carolina away from the Gamecocks. But again, as I said yesterday, I said this yesterday to the Gamecocks, I'm going to say it today to the Tiger Mens. Don't panic. Don't panic. This is the new normal, baby. This is the new normal. Uh-oh, even more.
All right. According to 24/7 Sports and who is it? Pete Thamel, Virginia is expected to finalize the deal, making Clemson OC Tony Elliott its next head coach.
Oh, snag averted, apparently. We told you earlier that there was reported yesterday there was a snag in the negotiations between Elliott and Virginia, the Who's, the Cavaliers. And I said earlier in the show, back in the first hour, I said, hey, snag in negotiations, maybe Tony's going to stay. But Pete Thamel now reporting that he will be named, or I guess will sign as the next head coach. So now, of the 4 major pillars of your program, athletic director, gone. Defensive coordinator, gone. Tony Elliott has now 1 3/4 feet out the door, gone. I'm not saying the end is near for Clemson. Let me repeat that one more time before I get called whatever name you're going to call me. I'm not saying the end is near for Clemson. I'm saying Dabo gets to prove himself now, right? You guys have told me since I got here, Dabo's a great CEO, a great eye for talent, knows how to put the right guy in the right place at the right time. This is where Dabo gets to prove you correct right now. Because if he doesn't, then it will be dark days ahead for the Tigers. But you have told me Dabo's a CEO. He knows how to do this. He knows how to put this all together. If you are correct, he is about to have a great offseason because he is going to prove that that is true. And we're going to find out. Quick break. Fanboy Friday is up next on The Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
Good.
Game with him at the helm of the offense when they match up against the Falcons coming Each of these teams entering the game with a record of 5 and 7 in many ways feels like a playoff elimination game. Furman basketball, they are set to return to action as they match up against Appalachian State tonight. We'll have that broadcast for you right here. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Weekends at the Well are back for Furman University basketball. Bicycle Wellness Arena in downtown Greenville has decided 4 games over 3 different dates, and tickets are available now at FurmanPowerless.com. Mark your calendars for January the 8th, February 5th, and February 19th. 4-game packs starting at just $40. Individual game tickets are on sale. All the information at FurmanPowerless.com. It's Weekends at the Well. Furman basketball returning to downtown Greenville.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur with words from another happy payroll customer.
It's very easy to use. From the login and the setup was extremely easy. I didn't have to call anyone for help. I was able to do it on my own. And I love the fact that I can run my payroll and print my pay stubs, and then you guys do all of the filing for me. So I get a quarterly report that everything's been filed on my behalf, and then at the end of the year I can print out my W-2. So I use you guys. I tell everybody.
I'm seeing a story that cold weather states are struggling to hire snowplow drivers. Wonder what it's like to drive a snowplow.
I wonder what they pay to drive a snowplow.
Yeah, there's that too. Of course, you'd have to be living in a cold weather state to do it, but
So, no, thank you.
yeah, for me, for sure. I've been there. I have followed the Boyd south and don't plan on going back to that. Still, it wouldn't be so bad out on the highway. It'd actually be kind of fun, I think. But in the city, it would be a pain in the butt trying to get past cars and everything as you're trying to plow. There are a couple Texas Chainsaw Massacre games coming out, and one of them is from what I can tell, NC-17. So how bloody would that be?
If I'm gonna play a horror game, it better be.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I get it, but how real is too real? I mean, if you're seeing chunks and you're hearing bone and stuff, it wouldn't bother you a little bit.
That's fake.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know. I think the sounds would bother me more.
Hey, it takes some getting used to, but
what if
the first couple?
What if it was in VR? Right? What if it was in VR?
I don't know if I could do horror in VR.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't. Like with
the jump scares, you probably would have a problem.
With a TV, right? Like if you know something's coming, just this, and I'm not looking at it anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in VR, you're just basically turning your head. You're still in the world.
I was watching this YouTube video. What's the game that's out right now? It's a closed-in area, and there's like 5 survivors, and one guy plays a serial killer, but you can pick from like a bunch of different famous serial killers to play, and they all have their different powers.
I've never seen that.
All right, so there's 5 survivors.
Sounds kind of wild, though.
And there's a closing camp, and you play in like Camp Crystal. You play inside of the
Is it Dead by Daylight? Is it? Because I know they've done that before.
It might be. That might be it. Yeah, I think it is.
So actually,
Jason and Freddy Krueger.
I was going to say Diesel plays that a lot.
Yeah. So anyway, there's one guy who uploaded all these videos on YouTube. So one of the things you have to do if you're the survivor to win is get cans of gas, load them into a generator to power it to open the gate to get out. There's this guy who would play as Jason. One of his powers is to be able to stand silently in a place and then become obscure to vision, I think. And he would just stand in the corner with a machete next to the generator, and he would let the survivors get the gas and come to the generator. Because when you walk into the room, the camera follows you in, and they'd spin the camera around, and then there's Jason with a machete. and he would just record their death cams it was hilarious.
Sounds like it. Steven, I have PSVR. I kind of want to, but at the same time, I don't. But I'm getting ready to move my game room around to have a little more room for VR.
Yeah.
Because I want to start playing a boxing game again since I have a higher ceiling and I won't cut my knuckles this time. And I might do it. I'm also worried about turning my head so fast that my VR gear like flies off and breaks.
We just got a tweet, or just got a DM from one of our listeners that has cleared up the Tony Elliott thing for me. When the lightsabers clash, it's time for Fanboy Friday. Real quick, I do want to get this out there. I got to give credit to my guy, Nick Simon, who just hit me up on Twitter a minute ago. Nick has a good eye. Good eye, mate. A good eye. Nice find on the Twitter. According to Mark Whiteman of WYFF News, just this morning, the University of Virginia Athletics was given a big chunk of change. The University Board of the University of Virginia approved a transfer of funds that will be directed towards the construction of a new $65 million football facility. And the Board of Visitors approved a $10.3 million transfer to the Virginia Athletics Department. The transfer from the UVA endowment will likely go towards building the football program, which could include, Lonzo,
a new coach.
Hiring a new coach. Yes. So,
well, it's going to have to.
Yeah.
You're going to have to hire a coach, but
so this appears, at least on the surface level, this appears like it might have been what that snag was. Virginia was waiting to see if this check was going to come through or not. It has. Boom. Tony Elliott is the next day likely signing the contract, according to Pete Thamel. All right. Had an interesting conversation going on a few minutes ago amongst my bandmates in a text thread. They sent me a message that the Sun Plaza movie theater in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, which has been open for some 60 years, ballparking it, maybe 7, has been open for a hot minute, all right? It's been open for a while. And they've upgraded it a few times over the years. But, Lonzo, it's an old rinky-dink movie theater, man. It's just an old school, small town movie theater.
what kind of shape was it in? I'm talking about on the inside.
Not great, but like not, I won't take my kids there dirty, you know? It's
so no rats skittering across the toes. Okay.
But the, you know, like it's an old building, you know what I mean? Like, you know how you can go in and you can change all the furniture in an old building, but at the end of the day, the old building's an old building.
And
you
there's
know?
that musty smell too. Yeah.
It's an old building. It wasn't in bad shape, but it certainly was far from it was far from an IMAX at whatever big movie chain that's in town, right? Anyway, they announced that the Sun Plaza movie theater in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, after probably some 60-odd years, is closed. Now, the interesting part about this, Lonzo, is there's only one other movie theater in town. It's about 10 minutes from there, and it is a big, like, 15-plex owned by one of the big production companies, right? You know the ones I'm talking about. Won't say their name, but it's got 3 letters in it. Let's just say that. It's by the mall. They got like 15 plus an IMAX in it. And it is nice, like super nice theater.
Do they have recliners?
They got not like full recliners, but they got the nice chairs that, you know, they sit back for you. It's nice, right? So everybody started going there. Now the little old movie theater that had, I think, 5 screens, maybe 4, maybe 5 screens in it, has gone by the wayside. They have had to close, which I get, right? The new theater run by the chain provides a nicer experience, like it or not. Lonzo, are we going to see the closure of the small community movie theater? I think we are, right? I think they're done. I think they're getting taxi by Uber to out of existence.
I agree. As long as there's an alternative in the area, it's harder for them to run things, especially during COVID and post COVID, because theaters haven't recovered from being closed for so long, and a lot of people have decided, you know what, I don't need to go to a theater. I'll wait. It's out on video demand quicker, or it's on a streaming service pretty quick, and I can just watch the convenience from my home. I think movies like Spider-Man and stuff like that may have a shot to save some of these guys, but I think it's the same concept in a way as a big box store moving in and closing a mom and pop store.
It really is,
it's
right?
the kind of thing. And I'm a little surprised that some of these theaters still exist, and it's probably mostly small towns, although there are a couple around here that are still existing and, from what I understand, thriving.
One thing that is cool, and this is something I think you're going to see a lot of in the future. On the other side of Fort Walton Beach, there's a place called Suds and Cinema. It is an old auditorium in the middle of downtown. It used to be a music venue. And then somebody bought it a few years back, and they converted the stage into a screen, and they converted the music venue into a small movie theater. But it doesn't have rows of seats, though. It actually has tables and chairs. And it's got a kitchen, and it's got beer taps, and it's got soda fountain and all that. It is less a movie theater where you go to watch a movie and more a dinner and a movie type setup, right? So you go with the family, you sit around a round table, and you order a pizza and, you know, a beer or a Coke or whatever you're going to get. And it's more of a social scene where there's a movie playing as opposed to going to a movie theater. And I think that's going to be the only way. It's less about the movie and more about the experience, right? And this place plays movies that have been out for 7-8 months. After they come off the big screen, this movie theater picks them up on their second run, and you go to have dinner and chat with your friends, and there's a movie on in the background. I think that's the future of local movie theaters at this point, because I don't see, I hate it, but I don't see how a small town, local 4 or 5 screen movie theater can compete with the big corporate movie theater who, like it or not, can provide a significantly better experience for pretty much the same price as go, right? Because mom and pop movie theater was still charging me, because they have to, you know, $18 to see a matinee
plus whatever
plus concession
food.
stands.
Yeah.
It's the same price to go to the bigger movie theater, but with more room, with more options, with more screens, with bigger screens, with better sound systems in them, etc. I think the local movie theaters are effectively hosed at this point. I mean, they're going the way of the cart and buggy because the car of the movie chains is here. And then you take into consideration the fact at this point, you take into consideration the fact of how many of these movies are more often becoming immediately available, on streaming services, right? We had that big fight about Scarlett Johansson and Disney about Black Widow because it went immediately available on Disney Plus, and ScarJo had a majority of her payment coming based on butts and seats in a movie theater. And so many of us just watched it at home on Disney Plus, and ScarJo got very, very, very little cut of what she could have if it was only released in theaters.
And there's another big movie that's getting ready to happen the same way, and that's the next Matrix, because it also comes out, and Dune did the same thing. It came out.
HBO Plus has had redonk amounts of like big movies going straight to streaming.
Whereas I do believe that Matrix would be so much better
I would not see
theater.
that anything but IMAX.
But I have 65-inch at home. I have a good sound system, and I'm just going to watch it at home because I'm going to save the money.
Yeah. Let's get Jimmy in here. Take one call about this before we take a break. Jimmy, welcome to the show, buddy. Thanks for taking a minute. Good to have you.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good.
So, you're talking about dinner and a show. I've got one that's even better than what you're talking about. Have you ever been to Dolly Parton Stampede in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee?
I have not yet. I have done the Medieval Times down in Florida. They also have a pirate one in Orlando. I have not made it to Stampede, but it is way up on my list.
All right, guys. So I just got through going to the holiday show. I've been to the one in the past. It was like a Civil War theme, but it's a live show with horses, trek riding. But the holiday shows, and we got Camels, Joseph and Mary, Baby Jesus, got a stage lowering from the ceiling, and you get a 5-course meal while you're sitting there watching this live show. So I really recommend this to anybody to take their family to. And it's pretty reasonable. It's like for 2 adults, it was $137, but you get dinner and a live show. Like I was saying, it's well worth the money. It's about a 3-hour drive from Greenville.
I will put it on the list, and I appreciate the phone call, Jimmy. I do think there is an opportunity here that I'm really intrigued by, Zoe, and it's for live entertainment, right? It's for live entertainment. It's for plays. It's for improv troops. It's for stand-up comedy, because as movies become less about going to the theater and more about staying at home and watching them on streaming services, people still, I think, want to get out and be entertained away from the house. But if it's easier to watch movies at the house, there's an opportunity for local theater troops and improv troops and stand-up comedians and live music to maybe capture back some of that, because now it's Thursday night and, I'm not going to spend $40 to go see a movie if I can watch it on Disney Plus at the house, but I will go out to see a band play, and I've got the night open now. Right? I think this is going to be interesting to watch the landscape of entertainment be terraformed by what we've seen in the way that movie distribution is working.
Well, it's going to take a while before we know what it really is going to be, because again, COVID still, it changed a lot of things, and things are not back to where they were. So until we get to that point, and we will get to that point, we'll have to see.
844-477-3776. 844-GSP, ESPN. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air. When we come back, you know what? A segment for me. It's a sports segment. Kinda. Roll for initiative. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate. I was like, I think that's Serena. It is. That's why I thought it was Serena.
That might be Serena.
It looks just like her, to be honest with you. Oh, little confidence boost for Lonzo with that one. MJF was back on Brandon's show today. We can't play the audio because 100% it's going to be NSFW. But without even watching it, I can watch what happens here. MJF is talking smack to Brandon, who's a very witty guy, and then MJF tells him, drop his chair so you're not as tall as me. Not enough. Drop it more. MJF makes him lower his chair. I can't wait to watch this.
I don't know. Do you play into that? I don't know if I play into that.
He will, because he's got such good contacts with AEW that I promise you they're telling him put this guy over, right? I will also tell you Brandon is taller than me by about 2 inches. He's a big dude, so I have no doubt that MJF was giving him crap. He made him finish the interview with his chair lowered. That's amazing. If we get MJF on the show and he's in character, how are you talking to him? You trying to get into a war with him?
Got to be me, man.
But are you going to try to get into a war with him?
God.
Like a verbal battle with MJF?
I normally don't go in thinking I'm going to do something. I just go with it. And so chances are, yeah, probably.
He told Brandon to shut up and let him host.
All right, this is weird. Twitter won't let me log out. Your account may not be allowed to perform this action. Please refresh the page and try again. What? So why do I have to refresh to log out? And now it's I hope I didn't get hacked. This is weird. I need some music. Dude, you could get flagged.
Not for this. It's not a copyrighted video. This guy's just covering the song on a piano.
I was gonna say, but still,
it won't get triggered.
When I recognize what the music was, we'll find out.
He had this guy had a friend take the Avengers theme and compose it to a piano only piece to use as his walkout song at his wedding. Dope. Respect that. Told Courtney I think mine would be the Jurassic Park song. That's what I want to come out to. Texter says, kind of out of the blue, boss man can DX it because I'm out at 3:30. Like, I'm cool. I got your back, fella. If you don't do that to the boss, if you don't throw the DX signal at the boss, though, you kind of wasted this text, right?
Yeah. I think it depends on the boss.
Yeah.
Ours would get it.
Our boss would laugh.
Or would.
Hysterically, or tell us, here's your box to pack your desk up. All right. I am not alone, ladies and gentlemen. I am not alone. I have been made fun of something fierce because one of my guilty pleasures has gotten out over the radio to the point that now I just embrace it and I don't care. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Brown, and this may shock you because, Lonzo, when you think of cool, you think of two people, the Fonz and Rob Brown. I mean, definition of cool.
Are you saying you in general, or you just talking to me?
No.
Okay, all right.
Like, when anybody thinks of cool, the two people that come to every American's brain are the Fonz and me. Like, that's the list. It got out.
I put Riddle at number 3, but, that's just me.
It got out a handful of months ago that Rob Brown does enjoy the occasional game of Dungeons and Dragons. And, of course, the jokes started flying in, including from the woman I am dating. She gives me crap about it all the time. And that's fine, because as Lonzo will tell you, and this is true of both of us, we're not really super concerned about what you think about us.
Not
we
really.
like what we like, and we do what we do. I came across this article in Sports Illustrated the other day. Myles Garrett is a dude, right? We agree Myles is a dude.
He's a large dude.
He's
yes.
a dude. He is a bro. All right? Myles Garrett, who is one of the studs on the Cleveland Browns football team and a dude's dude on the football field, has created a club. Texter says, the Fonz, you're really going for that 50-plus demo. Myles Garrett was looking for a way to build some team chemistry within the Cleveland Browns locker room, right? It's like, I need a way to bring some guys together to, like, get us all on the same page. Myles Garrett, an absolute dude, has started a Dungeons and Dragons club within the Cleveland Browns organization. Now, we have seen over the years a bunch of different examples of nerds starting to make their way up into the top tiers of the National Football League. Brennan Williams is an offensive lineman for the Jacksonville Jaguars, protecting T-Law's back. Not only is he a big fan of professional wrestling and talks about it and makes references in his interviews, he has also started drawing his own comic books that he has started to get published. Not only Do the New England Patriots, this is going to be interesting for Zoe. Not only did the New England Patriots have a business-like mentality, they have their own nerd group, Lonzo, of about 15 players who get together to watch Dragon Ball Z and Naruto on their own.
I'm sure when Tom Brady was there, he walked by and went,
Nerds. The Green Bay Packers entire offensive line gather once a week, Lonzo, to play Settlers of Catan together. It's a board game. It's a nerdy board game, but a fun one. Earlier in the year, Zion Williamson showed up to a Pelicans game in specially designed shoes that he paid good money for, covered in anime characters, because he's an anime guy too.
They were sweet.
They were super dope.
Too.
Rodrigo Blankenship, kicker for the Indianapolis Colts, collects Lego figures and World War II figurines.
He doesn't. I mean,
yeah, you can look at him. He's a nerd.
Yeah, he was a nerd when he was with Georgia, right? It was Georgia, right? Yeah.
So Myles Garrett hosts different members of the Cleveland Browns on a weekly rotation at his house where they all come together to play D&D together. So you can hit me with "We Are Giant Dorks." Don't get me wrong. We know you're not breaking any news for us. No glass shatter to tell us we're nerds. I'm just saying the dudes in the league, they have our back now. There are dudes in the league that are all about it. Get a phone call in here real quick, Lonzo. Who we got? John, it looks like. John, you're up next on the Rob Brown Show. Thanks for taking a minute, bud. Welcome to the show.
I appreciate it. I'm in a dad league on Facebook for Rocket League.
Nice.
And one of the Patriot safeties, not Devin McCourty, unfortunately, but still very awesome, plays Rocket League with us on that dad gaming room.
No joke, for real.
Yes, sir. And we have tournaments every Tuesdays, and he plays with us. And like just a team of regular dudes, their dads, and he plays with us every Tuesday.
That's sick. So you're just in a Rocket League with an NFL player who hangs out with a bunch of other dads in the league to play Rocket League. That's great.
Yes, sir. And actually, as a matter of fact, he actually does a really cool thing where when they have a thing called Gridiron for like the big NFL days, and they have that little game mode of Gridiron. He actually brought a couple of other NFL players that are also dads to play with us, and they had their own super team kind of thing.
Dude, that is dope. That is awesome. Hey, Nick, listen. Do you know who it is by chance? Do you know who it is?
The name escapes me, unfortunately, because I haven't played with them in a while because I've been busy with my kids, unfortunately.
Dude,
but
next time you jump on and get in a game with this dude, tell him there are a couple of nerdy sports talk show hosts in Greenville who want to have him on just to talk about his nerddom in football.
I absolutely will. I do appreciate it.
Love it. Thank you very much, big dog. Good call. I did not expect that. Hey, NFL players are nerds too. And guy goes, yeah, I'm just in a Rocket League, which is soccer with cars.
I know what it is.
No,
yeah.
I wasn't telling you.
Okay.
I'm telling the
All
general
right.
listening audience. And he's like, yeah, there's just NFL players who hang out with us dads and play Rocket League. Bro, the nerd culture is real. And even the machoest of spaces are now filled with wrestling fans and D&D nerds. We're taking over.
It's a good day to be alive.
You know what else nerds love? Analytics. Let's take a break. Twitter on the way out the door on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
QC.
QC Kinetics is right here in Greenville. Why am I telling you? Because I know that you suffer from joint pain. It happens as you age. You got connective tissue in your knees and your back and your spine and your hips. And as you age, that connective tissue starts to wear down. And unfortunately, as you age, the healing process doesn't work like it used to. It doesn't restore itself. It doesn't heal itself. So you get parts start to rub against other parts ain't supposed to rub against. You get inflammation, you get swelling, and you get joint pain. That's why you need to go see my friend at QC Kinetics, because you're going to get told, got to have surgery, got to replace this, got to go in there and scope that. Before you do any of that, call our friends at QC Kinetics at 864-448-3772. Mention the Rob Brown Show. Get a consultation for free with our friends at QC Kinetics, 864-448-3772. Let them tell you how their non-surgical regenerative therapies can help you feel better, faster, naturally, without surgery, without drugs, without steroids, and without downtime. Check them out online at QCkinetics.com, QCkinetics.com, QCkinetics.com. It's our friends at QC Kinetics. John just texted and said it's Cody Davis. Awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Resolution firm specialize in helping individuals, families, and businesses get right with the IRS. They're experts in the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, a powerful new program that can make resolving tax issues easier. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima's award-winning team has helped thousands of people protect IRS, resolving up to $1 billion. 800-706-7944. 800-706-74. 800-706-7944. The Upstate Holiday Light Show is going on now at Greenville Pickens Speedway. Drive through and nighttime Christmas.
Ole Miss just had their offensive and defensive coordinators picked off by Brent Venables. Both of Lane's coordinators are going to Oklahoma.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was flipping through the channels last night, and Home Alone was on right at the beginning of when the stuff started.
Did you stick around and watch it?
I watched a good portion of it and just forgot how funny that was and how horrible it was at the same time. The worst part is when Marv steps on the nail. I mean, everything else is bad, but when he steps on if you've ever stepped on a nail before, especially as a kid, and it's a rusty nail, and you're told about tetanus and you start freaking out. Yeah. I've had a tetanus shot once, and it's because I was working at a grocery store. I had a restroom emergency. I was running to go get to the restroom, hoping to make it in time. One of those kind of emergencies. I jumped a cart, but it was a pop cart, or what you would call a soda cart.
Okay.
The kind, if you watch like the Pepsi guy or the Coke guy, it will go down.
Yeah.
It was down, and I caught my knee on the blade, and it was my bad knee, so I didn't feel it. So I made it to the restroom in time, and I looked down, and my pants were full of blood. So because it was metal, I had to go take one. You know, all those things that you talk about, they're real. So that fear as a kid, it was real fear. When I'm going in and going, yeah, I'm all right. I could like use my arm for a while and stuff afterwards.
Really?
It was like,
that bad?
Yeah,
Golly.
Every time I stepped on a rusty nail as a kid, though, I never got taken to the doctor.
How many times did you step on rusty nails?
Multiples.
Golly. We grew up in very different worlds.
Yeah, mostly out in the woods, though. I mean, you know, when I go spend time over at my mama's, where they pretty much, there are a lot of woods around there. It's time for Twitter trending topics where I tell Rob what is trending. He will tell us what he knows about it on a Friday. It's Friday.
Got to get down on Friday.
It is. The first thing that's trending is Tony Hawk.
I'm going to come to Tony Hawk in a second, but I do want to say this so that Clemson fans can stop complaining that I'm beating up on you. Ole Miss.
Well, Lane missed this time.
Yeah. Ole Miss is about to be in a world of hurt too, because Lane Kiffin has just learned, per Brett McMurphy of The Athletic, Oklahoma has announced the hiring of Jeff Lebby and Ted Roof. Those are the offensive and defensive coordinators for Lane Kiffin's Ole Miss Running Rebels. Lane Kiffin has just lost both of his coordinators to Brent Venables in one fell swoop. So now the Ole Miss Running Rebels, who were kind of starting to go in a positive direction on the Lane train towards maybe becoming less irrelevant in the SEC, now they have to replace both coordinators. You know how I would describe that for Ole Miss? Bad. That's bad. That's not good for your football program. And if any Ole Miss fan was to tell me right now, I'm not panicked, I would call them a liar too. It's not just you.
I'm so goofy. When you said Ted Roof, I wanted to yell Rusted.
Ted Roof. I love it. Tony Hawk trending on Twitter. I don't know why he's trending. I have loved the constant stories from Tony Hawk when he tells stories about people not recognizing
Happened
him.
again.
Did it again?
At a coffee shop.
It's almost to the point now that I have to be like, is Tony making these up?
He clarified, I know it sounds like I'm making this up, but I'm not. Because he understands why you would think that.
Yeah.
But
there's so many.
you know, you really look like Tony Hawk.
Yeah. Like he's got one.
You know
of
what
those-
it is?
Love it.
But Tony Hawk can't be that old. You know that's what it is.
Yeah.
And it's
I think
got to
we
be.
all forget that Tony Hawk was spinning 1060s or 1080s or whatever in like 97, coming up on 30 years ago.
All right, one last one. Has died at 78.
Yes, guitarist.
Monkeys.
From the Monkeys.
Yes.
Yeah, guitarist from
He
the
wore the hat, the toboggan, the toque, the beanie, whatever you want to
Yes.
call it.
The Monkey. Hey, we're the Monkeys. You never know where we'll be found. So you better get ready. We might be coming to your town. Great show, man. Great show. Great band. Great show. All right, that's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Don't drink and drive. I will punch you right in the face. Have a lovely weekend. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. We appreciate it greatly. For Lonzo, I'm Rob. We'll see you back here on Monday to do it all over again on The Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Stream, thank you guys. We'll see you next week. Appreciate you hanging out. I'll still